in a different case found it to be properly enacted. This decision follows an appeal filed by the government, including the Attorney General, the Cabinet Secretary for Treasury, the National Assembly and the Kenya Revenue Authority against the Court of Appeal's judgment declaring the Finance Act 2023 unconstitutional. The court found that certain sections of the Act introduced after the public participation phase failed to meet constitutional requirements for public engagement. Human rights activists are warning Kenyans to brace for higher electricity tariffs if the 30-year agreement between Adani Energy Limited and KETRACO sails through. Through the National Convention for the Social Justice Movement, the activists have lauded the move by the court to stop the deal and differed with the government that the price of electricity will come down. They claim that the 95 billion shillings deal would transfer the country's essential power transmission infrastructure to a profit-driven entity, giving it a monopoly over electricity prices. Haki Africa Executive Director Yusuf Abubakar noted that unlike state-owned corporations, private companies primarily focus on profit, a factor that could drive up electricity costs. And former President Uhuru Kenyatta has expressed the need for various nations to put in place strategies to strengthen security and defense institutions in order to face off terrorism and extortion cases in Africa. Speaking during the inauguration of Nigeria's National Defense College, Course 33 in Abuja, the retired president said strong security institutions have the ability to deal with economic crimes.
And the way in which they function as a collective towards the pursuit of national as well as regional objectives. To address the problem systematically, we must have some level of introspection across all layers of government and politics. By instituting reforms at the national level, we are laying the foundation to reinvent ourselves as Africans at the sub-regional, regional, and continental level.
Nandi Senator Samson Cherargei says his bill to extend the term of office of the president and elected officials from 5 to 7 years will help the country save money. On his X account, Senator Cherargei has defended his bill, saying Kenya has been losing lots of money by holding general elections every 5 years. He says that IBC spent 35.8 billion shillings to run the general election in 2022, which has left the commission with a debt of 2.1 billion shillings until now. However, leaders who oppose the bill, including Nairobi Senator Edwin Sifuna, has termed their idea as absurd.
Unajua pale bunge kama soko lingine lolote hakuwezi kosa wazimu. Kuna wazimu pale, siku moja anaamka analeta mswada ambao hauna mbele wala nyuma. Anasema ati anataka yeye amechaguliwa miaka 5, anataka kujiongezea ati miaka 7. Katibu mkuu wa chama cha ODM, huo mswada hauna uungwaji mkono kutoka kwa seneta ama mbunge yote wa ODM.
The Director of Public Prosecutions, Renson Ingonga Milele, has set free tycoon Yagnesh Divani in the 7.6 billion shillings petroleum products case. Anti-corruption Chief Magistrate Harrison Baraza was on Monday informed that the prosecution does not want to pursue the case since it does not have witnesses and documentary evidence to sustain the case. The Divani case started in 2008, that's 13 years ago, before the businessman fled to the United Kingdom. And in the international scene, Kamala Harris crisscrosses Michigan while Donald Trump heads to Georgia, another of the decisive swing states in one of the closest U.S. elections in history, after presiding over a dark mega rally aimed at whipping up his right-wing base. With only a week until November 5th election day, more than 41 million Americans have cast ballots in early voting, including outgoing Democratic President Joe Biden, who voted on Monday after waiting in a long line in his hometown in Delaware. Tensions are soaring in a race that polls suggest is too close to call, fueled by fears that Trump could again refuse to recognize a defeat as he did in 2020. That's the Newswire. I'm Leah Ubaga.
.102.5 Spice FM. Kisumu.
The following takes place from 6 a.m. to 10 a.m. every weekday on SpiceFM.
You tune into Kenya's biggest conversation. My name is Ramanya.
Amen. Amen.
So 1 hour is over?
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Okay.
It gets over.
Can you imagine
in 20 minutes?
What the big boys have also done?
I'm very proud of myself.
When you understand about partnership in politics, it's like the way marriage is these days. When you're looking for a wife, you're like, oh, maybe you can help me pay for fees as I pay for the rent.
Why should you have a lioness living in your bedroom?
I have to tell you a story. I went for a prayer meeting, which was called for the spouses of candidates for senators and governors. And when I got to the gate, the lady who was the secretary, she refused to. She's telling me, no. Leo tunataka wa mama. Leo ni wa mama. I'm telling her, no. She said, no, sio siku yenu. And I thought, there's a problem here, because if it was a man, but this was a lady.
It will be called First Ladies until you change the name.
The Situation Room, Kenya's biggest conversation.
Patrick Lodge, Otieno Lumumba. Karibu sana.
Asante sana.
CT Muga. Mobus.
Opposite.
Wewe ukisikiliza namna hii unasikia opposite.
The Situation Room, Spice. The only way to start your day.
One of the things that are ailing our country is negative ethnicity. You find you as a state officer, instead of thinking as a Kenyan, you think like a tribal person.
Let me tell you something. The biggest problem we have had in this country is a leadership deficit. There is nothing that you are going to do in the process of change if you are not a risk taker. So you really have to pursue your vision to a logical conclusion and even be ready to step on people's toes.
When it comes to the economy, you can't run away with it. They say statistics are like bikinis. They reveal a lot, but they conceal the vitals. And so government people would throw statistics at you and tell you they're revealing a lot of information to you, but it's really concealing the real vitals.
We need to get out of that, because when we want to grow our democracy, one basic thing that really requires to be understood by the political class, by all of us, is institutions are critical.
This is the Situation Room. The only way to start your day.
It's Tuesday. What's happening on the streets? Let's take a quick look at that. Coming off of Thika Superhighway, a point of call for the first few minutes of the day. There's a little bit of traffic as it starts to build up as you get to the city, but nothing too scary at the moment. I think we'll see that you'll get into the CBD from the Thika Superhighway without too much of a hold up now. Also, schools have closed, so we're going to see reduced levels of traffic as we get towards the end of the year. Juja Road is looking good as you get through into the CBD as well. A quick look at the western part of the city coming in from Wairimu Way. Out towards the roundabout in Westlands and then into the city as well. It's looking good. Mombasa Road is not too bad. Uhuru Highway will have some traffic as you get out towards Haile Selassie at the junction. And then on Langata Road as you get into the city, we're looking all right. Okay, coming off of the southern bypass through towards the Langata interchange, that doesn't look too bad either. Let's see what Tuesday morning has in store. Talk to us. Let's keep things moving this morning. We'll talk on SpiceFM. KE on X, hashtag The Situation Room.
This is the Situation Room, the home of hard-hitting political commentary and penetrating insights about the state of the nation. This is a talk radio experience like no other. The Situation Room, a place for hard truths, debates, and elevated conversations. The Situation Room, witty, political, engaging, deep, controversial. In the room, we have CT Muga, researcher, academic, seasoned political observer, a fountain of wisdom in these politically uncertain times. Ndu Okoh, Nigerian by birth, Kenyan by choice, communications expert, Pan-Africanist, a truth seeker and believer in people power, and Eric Latiff, agent provocateur, the man in the chair, seasoned journalist, news hound, a man who believes in punching up, not down. This is the Situation Room, the only way to start your day.
Mambo iko sawa sawa ama haiko sawa sawa? Wewe unaonaje CT?
Mambo iko sawa sawa. Mambo sawa sawa.
Hey.
Mambo sawa sawa. Yesu kiwa enzeni. Mambo sawa sawa. Mambo sawa sawa. Mambo sawa sawa.
Once more.
Things already better. Things already better. When the Lord is on the throne, things already better. Things already better. Things already better.
Asanteni sana.
Karibu.
Thank you, please.
Yes.
Karibu. How are you doing?
Niko sawa, brother.
Yes,
it is good. It's actually getting warmer.
It is?
Yes.
Hello?
It's warm in the day, it's warm at night, it's warm.
It's
Let's
hot
just
at
say it
night.
as it is. It is hot.
It's hot at night.
Me, I actually thought I was unwell. Seriously.
Gee, man.
I thought
nights are hot.
I was thinking, God, this thing, am I getting... no, I'm not unwell. It's actually getting hot.
It's hot. It's hot.
So other parts of the world are getting colder, and we're getting hotter.
Yeah.
So we are hot.
Hot like that.
Far be it from you to let an opportunity such as that go.
I couldn't agree with you more. Far be it from me.
There's somebody who's sending greetings from Colombia and says that amepatana na watu huko ambao wanafuata hiki kipindi kutoka huko Colombia.
Colombia as in country?
Colombia as in country.
Mali Esteban alikuwa anatoka?
As in Bogota.
As in Bogota. Yes, basi hiyo ni nchi mzuri kabisa.
Imagine.
Yes. Maridadi.
Colombia.
I want to know why you think so, Sisi.
Nchi maridadi. Ukiwa huko.
Look in his eye. This man.
Today is a day for songs. You look into my eyes. And what do you see?
Look into my eyes. You will see.
What you're looking for.
Everything you do it for her.
Kabisa. You know, one of the things about countries and people, countries are good places and people tend to be good. The ill repute that countries get are as a result of a few individuals. It's never the majority.
No,
it's a few individuals who go completely belly up wrong. Okay? Exactly. So then we assume that because they come from that country is belly up wrong.
It's true.
Yes. So it's like in this country, we have lovely Kenyans who keep winning these marathons. So they assume every Kenyan can run.
Yes, no.
I, for one, cannot run, but I can walk. Yes.
Let me now tell you, there's I'm just seeing, there's a deputy head teacher who suspended his own son and asked him to go home and bring his parents.
Sorry.
The boy returned with his mother. When questioned about her son's misbehavior, the mother replied, he must have inherited it from his dad. Hiya, let me tell you what we shall discuss today, this lovely Tuesday morning. So shall we start with the 7 a.m.?
You didn't ask me how I am.
I did.
No, you didn't.
No, you did not.
Okay.
So let me ask, and how are you this morning?
Well, I don't have a collar, but I'm fine, thank you. Thanks, I'm fine.
Unasikiaje?
Sasa, vile nimeulizwa. Oh, no.
Top of the world.
I'm telling you. It's a very interesting thing. You should try it sometime.
Top of the world. At 7 o'clock, we shall have a conversation about what next after high school, focusing on the International University Foundation program. And we'll be joined by Anne Wanjiku Munene. She is the director of the St. Elizabeth Academy in Karen. Where is this city?
If you are going to Karen,
yes.
If you know where Karen police station is,
I do.
All right, that's you're entering Karen. There's this Karen shopping center on your left.
Right.
Just up ahead, the police station is on your
right.
Right.
Yeah.
The other Karen shopping thing on your left.
Left.
Just 50 meters ahead. There'll be a big sign there, St. Elizabeth. You turn left. Okay? And then you go. And you stop. On your left, St. Elizabeth.
Apple.
There you go.
That's how we tell directions in Kenya. Now, the government, through the county government, through Sakaja, want to come up with, numbering, right? So now, the St. Elizabeth will be like something like 2075, whatever that road is. Okay? So if I asked you, where is St. Elizabeth? You'll be telling me it's on 2035, the road.
Karen.
Karen. How will I ever get there?
20 what? Left.
This is how you tell directions. Roundabout ya Karen. Police Pandei.
Shopping center Pandei.
Enda mbele.
Immediate left. And then go. See?
This is how we tell directions.
Now, can you get lost with that description? How?
Alafu utaona mti kubwa. There's a big tree. And they recently cut that tree. They started, pruning the tree. So you'll find some branches on the ground. Exact direction.
And in fact, if you don't want to get lost, immediately after the roundabout on your left, says there's Karen. Kidogo tu Shell petrol station.
Yes.
Naona mama anauza njugu hapo.
First of all, wacha njugu. Kuna mwingine anauza toys.
So, Anna Munene will join us at 7 a.m. and we'll talk about, post-secondary school and how you prepare and work around it. And then at 8 o'clock, we shall be talking about data privacy and digital finance. We'll be joined by Kennedy Osore, who's the head of public affairs at Tala, Kenya, marking 10 years in these markets and how much they've, worked in this market and how well they understand the market. That's what we'll be understanding from Kennedy Osore. At 9 a.m., Auntie will be here. Her name is Obi. Read her name. Dr. Obiageli Ezekwesili. Say it.
Ezekwesili.
Ezekwesili.
Remember I told you yesterday, Eze is king.
So?
Ezekwesili.
Means what? She's the daughter of a king.
No. Kai,
senior.
Remember, I don't know.
Ezekwesili.
She has to come and tell us.
Okay. Dr. Obi Ezekwesili is the president of the Human Capital Africa and a senior economic advisor at the Africa Economic Development Policy Initiative. So she'll be talking to us about the challenges to democratic governments in Africa and governance in Africa and how to move from diagnosis to action, because we always have a way of telling we know what our problem is.
And it's bad.
Yeah, we're always good at actually diagnosing what our issues are. But now, kwenda kwa treatment hapo ndio shida. 19 minutes after 6, let's take a look at the weather forecast and then look at the headlines.
This is the Situation Room, the only way to start your day. The weather with SpiceFM.
Cloudy conditions, what we're looking at in Nairobi this morning. We'll see highs today of 26 and lows of 17. Looking into a partly sunny Nakuru, we'll see highs of 25 and lows of 17. Nyeri today at 13 is partly sunny, highs of 27, and we'll see lows of 13. It's 15 and partly sunny in Eldoret, highs of 25 and lows of 13. Sunny conditions we'll see through Tuesday in Mombasa at 24, highs of 32, and Malindi will go to highs of 31 and lows of 24. It's clear at 17 in Kisumu, highs of 31, and we'll see highs of 30 in a clear Kakamega at 16. Mostly clear after a heavy day of rains in Kampala, highs of 29 and lows of 18, while it's sunny at 26 in Dar es Salaam. We'll see highs of 31 and lows of 25. Johannesburg cloudy at 11 with highs of 24, and we're looking into a partly cloudy Mogadishu at 25 with highs of 31. It's 12 degrees and sunny in in Addis Ababa, highs of 23. Lagos clear at 25, will go to highs of 31, and at 25 it's cloudy in Kinshasa with highs of 32. Tuesday afternoon is sunny in Beijing, highs of 20 and lows of 7. It's a cloudy morning in Paris at 10 degrees with highs of 15, and it's cloudy in London at 14, going to highs of 16. We'll round things out in New York, where Monday night is clear at 11, coming into Tuesday highs of 15 and lows of 8.
Mature, intelligent talk every morning. Spice up yourself. Mornings done right. 94.4 Spice FM, Nairobi.
All right, watu ni wengi wako online.
I'm telling you, everybody is here this morning.
Wholesale trend.
Quick. Don, good morning. Good morning to you. Everybody's okay? Yes, we are. Good morning, Spice team. Ndu Akinyi Ateke. CT Muga and Eric Otieno. See, it's not just me. Desmond Ortiz, good morning to you. Robert Boko is tuning from Mombasa. And Onganyi Malala says good morning. Jeremiah Wanjala says good morning. I had missed you, my people. Well, welcome back. Tuning from Naivasha's Jimmy Minuthi. Ken Korir says good morning. Good morning to you. Okay. While you were away, Eric, now they've outed you. Eric told us that you had gone to see Chief Buju in Niger and bring some magical powers to help Kenya. CT laughed so loud. CT laughed so loud on that particular day.
I mean, this thing, where did this guy come up with the Buju? Of all the names one could think of. Why did he say Guju instead?
Who knows what he said? But I'm sure it will soon come out. Carl Nyambura natupenda sana. James Kamau is getting us loud and clear from Forney, Texas. D Key says good morning. Sandra Sherrier says she is tuning from Costa Rica. The rich coast, and says she loves the program. Well, thank you so much. Jack Atambo's also here. Shiro Giviomi, good morning to you. Thank you so much for tuning in. You're tuning in from Cape Town. Lovely town. Is it Cape Town is a city? Did you know that?
It is a city. And it's a very beautiful city.
Yeah, Cape Town is a city. Yeah, very beautiful city, actually. Leo says good morning. Good morning, Princess Ndu. Good morning. How do we properly address you? Don't just continue as you were. As you were, Leo. Chris Kadwong says good morning. Good people tuned in from KU main campus. Elkana is here. My prince is also tuned in. Kiongozi Omosh is tuned in. Agri Momanyi is also tuned in this morning. Mkohu Waere is also here. Mutuflani says good morning. Nice way to start the day indeed, says Jiwe. Things are getting better. They must. Rakim Magada says good morning. Alvin Obambo is here. Joseph Mbiu is also tuned in. Oktin says salamu mingi kutoka Tampa Bay. Mambo poa indeed. Toby's tuned in. Rachel Wajiro, thank you so much for tuning in this morning. Hey, man, lyrics are always important. Pap D, we see you this morning. Good morning. Tibbs is also here. Gulmar Khan says you make a wonderful team. Thank you so much for being here as well. Diplomat is here. David Akope, Sylvester Kengo, Brian Masinga. The family is also tuned in. John Mutua. Now, he's called me Du. My name is Ndu. It's actually spelled N-D-U.
Sinisawa too.
Wesley is also tuned in this morning, and Job Monyoncho is here as well. Good morning, everybody. Karibuni sana.
Safsana. Mombasa City. Leo proverb.
Bado tuko kule kule. We are in the state of Libya. This morning the proverb revolves around luck.
Okay.
Luck in, luck out. He who has luck will have the wind blow him his firewood.
He who has luck will have the wind blow him his firewood.
You don't need to look for it. Wind will blow it in your direction.
I love it.
Is it blowing of bringing the firewood or blowing of lighting the fire?
Lighting the fire, no. Because you need the light to blow the embers. You need the wind.
See?
Yeah.
The interpretation has begun. It's good. It's very good.
Okay.
Yes.
Headline for that,
On the front page of the Standard, how Devani walked free from 7.6 billion shilling Triton scam. Just walk away. No wahala. Everything is okay. Key witnesses. Nambi, walk like Johnny. Key witnesses, including former Minister Kiraito Murungi, refused to testify again in the case that lost the country billions. Yagnesh Devani, the architect of the oil deal, had been on the run for 16 years. So he ran for 16 years, and then with no testimony, he now walked away. He was extradited from the UK to face the crimes that the DPP said could not be proven. So he'd been running for 16 years, comes back here, DPP says, Hakuna kitu. He walks away.
I don't have witnesses.
I don't have evidences.
How many years down the line?
16, please.
In that time, people have died. In that time, people have forgotten what they said.
That's right.
In that time, documents have gone where documents go and they don't want to be found. So in that time...
A key witness was the then Minister for Energy,
Yes.
Kiraitu Murungi.
Yes.
He had given his testimony.
Yes.
And now they are going to call him for cross-examination. The guy is
He
like...
said no. Are you kidding?
No, you guys
I
get
did
serious.
this before. Can you get serious?
Don't get serious.
You have to cross-examine me now.
Now. 16 years later.
Kiraitu, are you with us or are you not with us? How does Kiraitu answer? I'm happy.
I'm happy today. I'm happy. Where? Grade 6 learners look to a bright future. Well, don't we all? A total of 1,303,913 candidates in 35,573 centres begin their exams with the hope of expanding their horizons. They will go to grade 7 in January. Tension as Supreme Court rules on Finance Bill 2023 and the housing tax. The 7 judges of the Apex Court are expected to rule on whether the tax law can be used by government and also determine the fate of the Housing Levy Act.
Why is there tension?
Because we don't know what they're going to say.
If the Supreme Court says hiyo kitu ilikuwa mbaya,
itakuwa mbaya.
Itakuwa mbaya.
Akisema ni mzuri,
that's the end.
Itakuwa mzuri. That's what we are waiting to see now.
Yeah, but they can also think about it and say, hii ni mzuri, hii si mbaya, hii ni mbaya, hii mbaya. I mean, it's, you know.
Sindio?
They're the Supreme Court.
Is there a Pentagon 2 in the making? Inside Ruto's political plan? Who cares? Sorry, did I say that out loud? I'm sorry.
Yes.
New 70 megawatt power plants underway.
Mega.
Where?
Megawatt.
New survey shows that women are spending less despite increased sales.
Sales of what?
Things, vitu. But less money. We're spending less money.
I don't understand that at all.
Eric will tell us in a bit. He's going to read that story. Let me tell you what's on the front page of the Daily Nation. How police use phones to track, capture suspects. A month-long investigation exposes how Kenyan police access customers' sensitive call data records and identify crime suspects in breach of customers' right to privacy, and how telecoms companies frustrate justice in cases where security agencies are implicated in murder and enforce disappearance. Okay. Moi Kin battle over 300 billion shilling empire. Gloves are off, the things are being done. Mano El what?
300 billion shillings.
That's right.
What?
Just try to imagine that number in your head for a moment.
300
These days I can imagine it.
300 billion shillings.
I've got...
3 Adanis at JK.
Exactly. State scales down police presence at Kipsea as Kipsea starts today, and police. Okay, state says, why do we need so many police? I mean, it's an exam, for gosh sakes. Gachagua bid to stall cases. Impeached deputy president now wants proceedings at the High Court on his removal stopped, pending the determination of an appeal he has filed. All these other things that you people are doing, stop it. Let's find out what they're going to say about the appeal that I've put in.
Okay.
Sawa.
Yeah.
You're just wasting our time. The president has chided government critics and he says, you know what, guys, stop the propaganda. You can call me whatever you want, you can say whatever, but we have to make sure that, what continues. Ruto defends his remarkable performance in the last 2 years. He says, you can say whatever you want, but I've done a stellar job. Saying those attacking the Kenya Kwanza government are spreading fake news and propaganda.
Watu wawache propaganda.
Propagandists, stop propagandaing.
Essentially what he's saying, don't follow my lead.
Oh, touche. Sheesh, city.
Hey.
Sawa basi. Oh, the Dons, by the way, are going to come back on strike.
The Dons?
Yeah, university Dons.
All of the
You
Dons.
know what? Guys, don't joke with us. Tutafunga na tutupeki.
Atuende. Let me tell you something. See, you have a bank account. See, you have mobile phone and you have mobile money. See, you have all those things that you do. Now, KRA has started integrating its system with banks, money remittance firms, and payment service providers like M-Pesa in fresh effort to weed out tax evaders and boost revenue by billions of shillings. The taxman is sending letters to CEOs of the institutions demanding the firms link their systems to that of KRA for real-time visibility of financial transactions in line with the law that passed with the Finance Act 2023. Supreme Court tafadhali, just for that one reason, whatever decision you had made, go back to this one. The Finance Act of 2023. You see now where the tension is, City? If Supreme Court says Finance Act 2023 is legal, lawful, KRA inaendelea.
If they say
illegal, unconstitutional, null and void, telecom firms offering e-money and banks are expected to provide names and addresses of each person to whom a payment has been made, as well as the value and why the expense is being made. Ukinitumia M-Pesa, unaandika fair. KRA wanajua umetumiwa fair. Ukirudisha, useme returning fair. KRA wanajua umerudisha fair.
I think this we should just leave.
Are we together?
No. We are not together. You're on your own on this one.
KRA is focused on payments that are being done by businesses for supply of goods and services, consultancy services, commissions and royalties amid concerns of under-declaration. Okay?
Under-declaration?
Yeah. People are not declaring. People are doing business huku and then they're coming and saying, hata sijafanya biashara.
And I wonder why.
Biashara ni mbaya.
If they want to start doing this kind of thing, are they surprised as to why people are doing that?
Umeniuzia sijui ati viatu, unauzanga viatu huku on
City
the
now
side.
sends me money. I'll now start then he will now start saying
Explain.
Gifts, happy birthday gift.
Yes.
Happy birthday for the 3rd birthday this month.
Surely.
Really?
Yes. Yes. Airtel gets 2-year license extension amid 1.7 billion shillings of unpaid fees. 355 companies get IPRA solar license. So there were some 355 solar contractors, manufacturers and importers who took up production permits from IPRA in the year to June 2024. 4 banks to handle shift contributions. The Social Health Authority has designated 6 banks, including KCB, CDN Bank. So the headline says 4 banks. The story says 6 banks. KCB, CDN Bank, Cooperative Bank, Equity, ABSA and Diamond Trust as the official collection accounts for employer contributions. Infrastructure bonds fetch premium. Shopkeepers hand Kenyans a credit lifeline. Okay. City, tell us about the Business Daily and then I'll tell you what's...
So that was reading Business Daily?
Oh, no, it's
called the
Star.
Taifa Leo. It's actually called the Star.
Yeah,
okay.
That one. I'll tell you about the Taifa Star. You tell us about the Star Leo.
You'll tell us about the Taifa Star today. Top right-hand corner. Today's Tuesday.
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, before, my gov would cover it.
Hey.
My gov is exactly where my gov is, okay? For government tenders, job opportunities, see my gov pull out inside. That's my gov. Then, top right-hand corner, in teal green. 18 years, this is a serious thing. 18 years for brute son who beat mother to death over alleged affair.
Wow.
There's something really wrong in this country.
I'm telling you.
Something quite off. Methinks this one, together with what we were saying yesterday, it has actually gone beyond the physical. This thing is spiritual.
I'm telling you.
Shida hapa.
Kubwa.
Right. Students' gay fling exposes health dangers. I need to read this one so that you understand.
Students' gay fling.
Yes. Student had a gay fling. And in this case, had a gay fling with the lecturer. And there was benefits.
Stop the bus. Can I get off?
Excuse it doesn't exposes
health dangers.
Okay.
Long and the short of it is he acquired a sexually transmitted disease and had difficulties getting health care for the condition.
Okay.
All right? So details to follow.
Okay.
Revealed top killer diseases in the country. There are diseases that kill more than others, okay? And they are in the country. And then there are also places where they appear more than in other places. hii kitu ni mbaya. I just need to mention the top killer diseases. COVID-19, not 16, 17, 19. Yes, COVID never really went anywhere. The discussion around herd immunity is what we should perhaps talk about a little more. Cholera, that one has never gone anywhere. Okay, malaria epidemic, and something called Kala-za. Those are the things which bother people the most.
And the top killers.
Top. Maximum. Most affected counties: Garissa, Nairobi, Nakuru, Wajir, Mandera, Mombasa. All right? Lawmakers defer review of boundaries. Every 10 years when we have census, we're also supposed to review boundaries. Because people increase in numbers, and sometimes it is important that you divide a constituency. Sometimes it's also good that you remove and delete constituencies because people are not there. It happens, by the way. Okay, now bang in the middle of the paper, political clout. His overriding mission is to undo Gachagwa's damage. Who am I talking about? Bang in the middle of the paper, we are told who. Kindiki's big test to mobilize Restive Gema behind Ruto. Okay?
Restive Gema's behind. What do you say? Did I get it wrong? Okay, say it again.
We are behind you, don't worry.
I am right behind you, Eric. Kindiki's big test, colon.
Kindiki's big test.
See semicolon,
colon behind. That is thing.
To mobilize Restive Gema, comma, behind Ruto. Not to mobilize Restive Gema behind.
Punctuation is important.
not to mobilize Restive Gema behind. Okay. Got it? You got it. Okay. DP Rigath's removal has triggered disquiet in the region. This story is found on page 4 and 5.
Okay.
Sawa. Very good.
Katika Taifa Leo vidokezo, barabara ya Ruto 2027 yateleza. Kura za mlima zaanza kumponyoka huku raia wakizidi kunungunika.
Kiswahili is such a beautiful language.
Kuma what? Kumunyu?
Kunungunika.
Kunungunika. That is kunungunika.
That's kunungunika.
Ya kuteleza unajua si?
Hiyo najua.
Kuteleza unajua.
Sliding.
Unajua kuteleza. Haya basi.
Haya kijiri.
Huku haya kijiri. Mabadiliko kwa mtihani wa KPSEA. Wanasema kwamba serikali yapunguza idadi ya polisi vituoni, wanafunzi milioni 1.3 wakianza mtihani. Kule ukaibuni, Trump bado afokea Harris kura zikibisha. Wawaniaji wakuu katika uchaguzi wa Amerika Jumanne ijayo wamekabana koo.
Strangling.
Wamekabana koo.
Choka block.
Wahadhiri kuanza mgomo wao leo, wakuu wa chama chao waamuru wasusie kazi hadi waongezewe mishahara. Dons wale madons.
Mshahara hiyo ni
umeshika mshahara. Na kazi vile umesikia. Kazi umesikia. Bas. Haya. Bangi katikati ya gazeti. Chenga za Gachagua. Karata, naibu wa rais aliyengatuliwa aonekana kubuni mipango kabambe ya kuhakikisha uamuzi wa mahakama kuhusu kutumiliwa kwake umechelewa zaidi. Basically, he's just going to court to try and delay this thing as much as possible. One delay tactic into the next delay tactic into the next delay tactic, and so on and so forth. It is 20 minutes to 7. Let's take a look at traffic.
This is the Situation Room. The
444.
September, endelea kufurahia na Star Times. Renew your subscription today on the basic bouquet for 750 shillings for aerial decoders. Enjoy lots of fun and adventures on our kiddie channels. Let your favorite stars make your heart flutter on our world-class telenovelas. Renew your subscription on the Smart Bouquet for 1,199 shillings for satellite decoders for unmissable football action on the Carabao Cup, Saudi League, La Liga, and the Bundesliga. Music, movies, documentaries, and lifestyle channels. Download Star Times on app today on Google Play Store or the Apple Store to never miss a moment of your favorite shows. Star Times. Enjoy digital life.
Starting to get really busy on the Thika Superhighway as you come into the city. As you get towards Pangani, that's where it's going to clog up a little bit. But before that, I think we're doing all right. Some traffic is starting to come in from, Garden City Mall. Before that, Githurai out towards the CBD. As you're coming out of Westlands, not an issue here. James Gishuru will start to pack up probably later. As you get over the drift, it's busy there. And as you're coming in from Kangemi and then through towards Waikiwe, onto Rakiwe, continuing rather, it's busy. But really, for most parts of it, I think folks are getting where they need to go without too much of a hold-up. It's looking all right on Langata Road. And as you're getting onto Huru Highway, we're going to see clog-ups at Lusaka and then Bunyala and then out towards Haile Selassie. So keeping an eye on all of this as we get into traffic hour in about an hour or so. Let's talk in the meantime. SpiceFM KE on X, hashtag The Situation Room.
Mature, intelligent talk every morning. Spice up yourself. Mornings done right. 94.4 Spice FM, Nairobi.
All right.
I'm going to tell you the story about Divani, right? But I think it's interesting because we're going to throw this against, this is in the Standard today.
Okay.
And we're going to throw this against a story that comes on the Nation front page, which is how police use phones to track and capture suspects. So they can actually find out to the very detail what you've been up to, what you have or have not done. But somehow, the DPP will also tell us that in the same country, we can't find any evidence that links a man to a case where 7.6 billion shillings have been lost. Make any sense to you?
Go on.
Okay. How Divani walked free from one of the country's biggest scandals. Now, it's in a shocking twist to one of Kenya's largest corporate fraud cases. Controversial billionaire and oil tycoon Vagnesh Divani has walked free. 16 years after allegedly being involved in a scheme to siphon millions from Kenya's oil reserve through Triton Petroleum, Divani no longer faces charges, and the court's declaring he has no case to answer. The decision, delivered by anti-corruption magistrate Harrison Baraza, followed an application by Director of Public Prosecutions Benson Ingonga to withdraw the case. The ruling pointed to a lack of key testimonies and witnesses, including the one of former Energy Minister Kiraito Murungi, and the death of critical witnesses, rendering the case virtually dead. During the peak of the scandal in 2008, Murungi was Energy Minister, while Patrick Nyoike served as Permanent Secretary. Kenya Pipeline Company, led by Managing Director George Okungu, enabled Triton to withdraw oil without full payment, an opening Divani allegedly exploited to withdraw oil stored by KPC, selling it off and pocketing the proceeds. Do you understand? Oil that came into the country for the country use apparently was siphoned and sold and pocketed by one individual. Despite their offices placing them around the circumstances of the Triton affair, these individuals did not testify, according to court records. Now, Petro City Energy, Kenya's general manager Peter Mecha, was then KPC's general manager of operations. Now, as operations boss at KPC, Mecha played an integral role, responsible for placing oil orders, monitoring the country's reserves, and advising on fluctuating oil needs. Essentially, the technical expert who would have detailed knowledge of the product's flow. His testimony appears not to have been called. So the one guy who would be able to tell you everything about what happens in the country concerning these deals didn't testify. Where is he? It's a question.
Okay.
Kiraito, the main then man on the government's driver's seat and considered a crucial witness in the case, the DPP said was unwilling to cooperate, significantly weakening the prosecution's position, leading to its collapse. He had previously testified. Whatever they did with that testimony, Je ne sais pas. But they've asked him to come forth and testify again, and he said, it can never be me. Now, in the infamous saga, banks and oil companies backed Triton with financial guarantees. But as Devani sold the oil, he allegedly failed to settle his debts, plunging the company into massive losses amounting to around 7.6 billion shillings. The petroleum scandal sucked in a wide network of individuals and institutions from both within and outside government and exposed major weaknesses in Kenya's energy sector. It goes on and talks about the details and intrigues of the story. But you know what? At the end of the day, there was an investigation carried out. There was a trial proceeded. There were witness testimonies taken. But today, the DPP says, we've not nothing. And we have nothing to hold him on. And the judge said, in that
the
case,
technicality
he
of
has
it,
no answer, nothing to
from
answer.
that argument by the DPP, I mean, if you do not have witnesses to come and testify,
what case do you have?
You don't have a
no
case. You
right?
don't.
You may have collected, witness statements then, but they've got to come to court and testify before court so they can be cross-examined by the defendant. Now, if they don't come, then what case do you have? Now, if you look at this and the chronology of it, then it just tells you that this is what would happen in such big cases. That it can go on and on and on for long as this person has left the country, and then you are dealing with this kind of matters, it just goes and disappears. The Anglo leasing cases as well, this kind of thing happens. I mean, 17 years is a long time. And if you don't have witnesses, then that's it. Even the cases of the ICC collapsed because
lack of witnesses.
No witnesses.
That was essentially the downfall of Bensouda. That's the same thing. It's just, I think, when we look a little bit more on the, if you can even call it a softer side, that it is quite unfortunate that countries, Kenya, others, continue to lose so much that could have done 1, 2, 3 for the economy, for the nation, etc. On technicality. This is what we're talking about here. That they are technicalities. Imagine. If you don't have a witness, what are you going to do? So according to the law, you don't have anything to hold this individual on.
None.
So you must let them go.
None whatsoever.
And the case just goes and it disappears.
And money disappears.
So it can be planned like this from the very beginning.
This is it. That it is very possible that somebody said, you know what, this
go away, take time. We are going back and forth in court, extradition. Oh, we are seeking extradition, this and the other, extradition, this, the extradition tomorrow, blah, 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 blah. Then the case just goes and
then 16 years later, poof.
Yeah. Is there no other way of actually ensuring justice? Are we saying that long cases, cases that happened long ago, cannot then be prosecuted because witnesses died? Because,
there is also something about a statute of limitation. And one doesn't know. Well, there are those who say if it's a criminal matter, there is no such statute. But this particular government, we have seen very many individuals who had cases before courts in this country that had to do with something similar. Money didn't quite go, it was supposed to go. It wasn't quite received the way it should have been received. And there were queries about it. Someone didn't quite pay their taxes as they ought to. KRA had an issue with them. And with each and every of these cases, and their high profile, somehow or the other, they all seem to have collapsed. Now, I am not a conspiracy theorist, but I am forced to ask, even if it is coincidental, isn't that coincidence too coincidental?
It's a bit too coincidental to be coincidence.
17 years down the line, you come back into the country. What were you running away from in the first place?
If you could just easily trot back in.
And how did you manage to leave the country if this case was of national importance?
And if you did nothing wrong, why did you run?
And to leave the country, you needed a passport. People have been told to deposit their passports with the courts in the case of national interest such as this one. In this particular case, why did that not happen? You see, if one keeps asking how it is that the government manages to accumulate just the interesting levels of mistrust. This is how.
This is it.
This is how.
This is it. So when the president would come, like in another story we'll see later, and he talks about stop the propaganda, we've done so much. When you see something like this, then you have to ask, okay, well, not really.
You do have to ask.
Yes.
Anyway, so, Mr. What's his name again?
Devani.
I was about to say
Yagni.
I thought I was about to say Adani.
It's okay. It's this guy, same thing.
This is Yagnesh Dewani.
Devani, eh? All right, fine.
Yagnesh Dewani. He has walked. He has walked.
So
now,
which
university
means,
dons.
Eric, it means all the money, everything that was involved in that case is done. Or what on the president?
7.6 billion.
Gone.
Yes.
All right, fine.
It's gone.
Established it. Please carry on, Eric.
Ilikuwa imeenda. Lecturers in all public universities will resume their nationwide strike tonight at midnight following a disagreement between the university's academic staff union and the government on execution of the return to work formula that they signed on September 26th. The strike is likely to disrupt learning activities as well as various exams in universities. WASU Secretary General Constantine Wasonga instructed union members not to teach, to mark or invigilate university exams until the government honors the pay increment deal that they signed. So they just signed the deal just the other day, towards the end of September. Now we are on the 29th of October. And they're like, this thing has not been honored already. Just work today. In fact, I saw Constantine Wasonga saying, I am telling WASU members, work today up to midnight. Today up to midnight. Midnight with 1 minute. Down your tools. That's what he told them.
Not working again.
Down your tools. Work today up to midnight. Now imagine we're back there. Why would the government sign deal with them and within less than 30 days not even honor the deal?
Well, I mean, why would the government say that there would be no extrajudicial killings or extra abductions take place and then you see them happening? Why would the government say that you're going to set up an education fund and send children to school and then not send capitation? Why would the government say that we're going to build roads and we're going to solidify infrastructure and then not do it? I mean, you could ask anything about everything that goes wrong or goes belly up. Why would you say that you would pay teachers, doctors, university lecturers? Why would you say that you would do that and then not keep your word? Why? Ask it about anything. Why?
You know, those attacking the Kenya Kwanza government are spreading fake news and propaganda.
Oh, okay.
The president, in a thinly veiled attack seemingly directed at Ndu or at those who disapprove of his government's performance, he asked Kenyans to dismiss them and instead believe in his transformation agenda. We dismiss you, we rebuke you, tunakukemea.
Okay.
Dr. Ruto regretted that the criticism was hurting the image and progress of the country as well as his administration. All of us, as the people of Kenya, it is time we believed in this great country that God has given us. It is time to stop the negativity. It is time to stop believing in fake news and propaganda that is hurting our nation. This is what he said yesterday. Okay? Nasikia? He defended his performance in the last 2 years, saying it's remarkable. He spoke at the National Youth Service College in Gilgil, Nakuru, where he was presiding over the graduation of 574 forest officers. He said, look, we have hired many more forest officers. Now we are taking care of our forests, right? And you people spreading fake news. Oh, serikali ifanyi kazi.
This may come as a surprise, but I don't think it is a criticism of the government that is giving the nation a bad face.
What do you think it is?
The actual non-performance.
Where there's performance. There's 574 for new forest officers.
Oh,
Did
true.
You have those?
And there's also the statement that the forest services will be funding themselves.
Yeah.
How's that going to happen exactly?
They had a budget of 4.7 billion shillings.
Okay.
The government only supported them with 280 million shillings. They raised the rest. The Kenya Forest Service managed to raise the rest. 4.7 billion minus 0.28 billion is 4. What billion? 4.3 billion.
You know the
4.4 billion.
Something which is very difficult to
They
hide.
raised it themselves, that 4.4.
Yes.
So they don't need government.
No.
See?
It is very, very difficult to hide progress. It is also very, very difficult to hide projects that have been undertaken and that have been completed. It is very difficult because you see the beginning and you see the end. Okay? There is a department, I think, that was supposed to supervise and undertake an understanding of what is happening. What was it called? Performance something.
There are many. Now Eldoret is heading one.
Yes. Now, perhaps instead of, why don't they just beef up what the president has said and tell us all the projects that have been undertaken by this government and how they've completed them and the benefits that were promised by this government at the completion of these projects, where we are. You see, when you list them and tell us, then we say, yes, it is true. It is very, very true what it is you're saying. We witness, and in fact, there are examples that we can look at. Perhaps that should allay our fears and deter us from propagating these views that may be seen as damaging to the government.
Propaganda.
Yes.
Please. Sidi, you had some two interesting stories that you were to give us.
Yes. In something like 1 minute, Sidi.
Yes.
Okay, one.
Two.
2 minutes.
Yes.
Oh, that's very good. Page 2. There's a story of a gentleman whose name is now Jeffrey for purposes of
protection.
Yes, protection and confidentiality. He had an affair with his lecturer. These are both men. Just please understand.
Okay.
The lecturer paid part of his fees and even helped him start a mitumba business. Okay. Then he started feeling unwell. There was a pimple in the anal area, and it grew into multiple warts, inflamed and raised lesions. Now, he decided to go to some clinic to try and get help. Now, the problem with this, not what he expected, all right? He did not quite have the improvement of the situation that he had, meaning he didn't quite get better. Now, part of the reason is there are no currently, and I'm reading, there are currently no clinical guidelines available on how to treat serious diseases beyond recommendations of referral to high-level public healthcare facilities. Okay? However, these high-level facilities are unprepared to handle this burden of disease without standard operating procedures. Okay? Now, what am I talking about? I'm talking about a situation where somebody who is gay has a problem that has been brought about by a sexually transmitted disease. Now, the care for people who are self-confessed gay, the services have been available.
Yeah.
Okay.
They have been provided over time. I do not know what has happened now, but there was specialized clinic that dealt with such matters directly.
Yeah.
Okay. The problem, however, is it seems like progress was made and we seem to have engaged reverse gear.
So I'm not getting. So what's the issue in this story? That he was not able to get the care that he needed.
Yes.
He needed to be taken to
the treatment that he needed.
It required referral.
It required referral, but the referral one, if there are no specific guidelines as to how these things should be handled at a national level, even if you go to hospital,
there's no guideline on how to handle STIs.
No. Specific STIs to men who have sex with other men.
Okay, so this is a unique STI that is only transmitted by men who have sex with other men.
Yes, and this is because when you talk about anal warts, to be specific, okay, the programmatic gap, that's what it's being called, okay, there's growing evidence that despite the high prevalence, and there's a high prevalence of this particular disease, and they're mostly caused by HPV genotypes 6 and 11, and so forth and so forth and so forth, but currently there are no clinical guidelines as to how to deal with anal warts.
I see. Okay.
So, that was story number 1.
Yeah, time in Asia. 7 a.m.
Good morning, this is the News Wire. I'm Lao. Muga grade 6 learners today continue with their KPSE exams, with tomorrow set to be the last day. A total of over 1.3 million pupils are today sitting for their integrated science and Kiswahili papers. Education's CS Julius Ogambe will this morning be overseeing the exercise together with other officials in the sector.
wish to state and confirm that the government is fully prepared to undertake this examination. We are using, of course, a fully one government approach. We have a multi-agency approach, and every possible security feature, security system has been put in place to ensure that there are no malpractices this year. But in the event that there are, then the law will take its course and people will be penalized for the offenses that they would have committed.
Not have anybody this time round in terms of our security colleagues being in a classroom for CAPSEA. It will purely be the teacher and the pupils.
A serial murder suspect has made a dramatic escape from Kitale Law Court after he used off a prisoner warden keeping eye on him at a pit latrine. The suspect jumped the court fence and escaped to the nearby Chalala slums amid pursuit by prison officers. The suspect, Ruben Karakacha, is facing several robberies and murder cases and had attended court for the mention of his case. His escape comes barely a day after the DCI appealed for information to help locate Kware serial murder suspect Collins Jumaisi Halusha, along with 12 other suspects, escaped from Gigiri police cells on the morning of August 21st and has yet to be recaptured despite a cash reward being offered for information leading to his arrest. Halusha has confessed to the murders of 42 women, including his wife, since 2022, but his lawyer said he had been tortured to confess. Kenyans will be treated to a fresh round of theatre today as lawyers engage in a contest of wit, humour and mastery of King's English, with the three-judge bench resuming hearing the case of impeached Deputy President Rigathi Gachagua. Since the onset of the case last Tuesday, the courtroom has transformed into a stage where lawyers dressed in formal attire exchange not only legal jargon but also humorous jabs. The judges have also joined in delivering pointed remarks that elevate the proceedings to a theatrical spectacle, challenging the notion of playing to the gallery as not truly representative of the seriousness of the case. As the court sessions resume, the three-judge bench will hear two urgent applications filed by the Attorney General and Parliaments to lift court orders preventing the swearing-in of Interior Cabinet Secretary Kithure Kindiki as Gachagua's replacement. Attorney General Dorcas Oduor seeks to vacate these orders, contending that the Deputy President's position is now vacant due to Justice Richard Mwongo's ruling last week at Keregoya High Court in a petition filed by David Munyi and Peter Kamodo. And truck drivers Monday paralysed operations along busy Eldoret-Malaba highway in protest over county charges for road users, which they term as unrealistic and against the East African trader laws. Speaking at Amagoro, where the drivers parked their trucks on the road to express their dissatisfaction with the county direction, the drivers, led by Sudi Motela, vowed to stay put until and unless the CS Transport visits Malaba and addresses the impunitive road levy by county government of Busia. According to Motele, they walked up to a new directive from Malaba Municipal Management demanding they pay 400 shillings for passing Malaba and an additional 400 while coming back with empty trucks. That's the Newswire. I'm Leah Ubaga.
SpiceFM, Nakuru.
All right, where are we at a few minutes after 7 o'clock? Let's take a look as traffic hour comes into full swing. The situation on Kiambu Road goes from 0 to 100 in a quick minute. A lot of traffic getting in towards Muthaiga Square. It's also very busy on the Thika Superhighway. And we're seeing traffic coming in from Kasarani out towards Garden City and then through towards Pangani at the underpass. That's busy. It's busy on Ring Road, Kileleshwa. All of this is going to touch in with what's coming off of Waiyaki Way. That's busy. James Gishuru starting to build up as well. Over the drift, traffic is starting to get to bumper status. Okay, also, let's take a quick look at what's coming off of Ngong Road. Traffic getting into the CBD. Some of that traffic coming in from Railo Dinga Way. Also touching on that. The roundabouts also at the City Mortuary is busy. Also, a little bit of traffic on Langata Road starting to build as well. Keeping an eye on all of this, we're knocking on traffic hour. Let's see what happens as we get into it. SpiceFM KE on X, hashtag the Situation Room.
This is the Situation Room, the home of hard-hitting political commentary and penetrating insights about the state of the nation. This is a talk radio experience like no other. The Situation Room, a place for hard truths, debates, and elevated conversations. The Situation Room, witty, political, engaging, deep, controversial. In the room, we have C.T. Muga, researcher, academic, seasoned political observer, a fountain of wisdom in these politically uncertain times. Ndu Okoh, Nigerian by birth, Kenyan by choice, communications expert, Pan-Africanist, a truth seeker and believer in people power, and Eric Latiff, agent provocateur, the man in the chair, seasoned journalist, news hound, a man who believes in punching up, not down. This is the Situation Room, the only way to start your day.
Okay, 7 minutes after 7. City. Story number 2.
Kwenda. We're talking about diseases in Kenya. Let me just mention it in passing, so that I can redeem the time, as we say. Okay, the number of outbreaks from 2007 to 2022, 457. The number of diseases we're talking about, 23. Individual cases, those who have been caught up with these disease outbreaks, is 464,000. Outbreak deaths, 6,575. The clear diseases are COVID, cholera, epidemic malaria, and Kalaza. The most affected areas, as I mentioned, are Garissa County, Nairobi, Nakuru, Wajir, Mandera, and Mombasa. All right? Yes, those are the things that I wanted to mention.
Okay.
Researchers identify 6 counties where most outbreaks and deaths occur. Why they occur specifically in these places, that again is a story that we will be looking into, perhaps as we talk about diseases and the outbreak and the government response to them.
Okay.
Yes.
So in this second hour of Kenya's biggest conversation, let's start off by telling you, if you'd like to study in Ireland, then attend the official Study in Ireland fair coming next month, the 9th of November. It'll be from 9 a.m. to 1 p.m. Where? Gallant Mall. Where is Gallant Mall, Ndu?
In Parklands.
It's in Parklands. Okay. This is organized by who?
It's organized by Cradle, right? The education platform for all your education needs, especially at a higher level. And they said, you know what? If your interest is to go to university and you want to study in the country of Ireland, there are a number of universities that will showcase everything about them, from Griffith College, University of Galway, University of Limerick, the Technical University of the Shannon, Dublin City University, Independent College, University College Cork. And you can do so many things with these universities. You can apply on the spot. There are amazing scholarships up for grabs, visa consultation, so many things happening at the same time. So you have direct access to some of these guys. You can discover unique career opportunities in Ireland, and you can get expert visa advice. Everything that you would need from beginning to end about your journey to study in Ireland at these top universities, you will get on that day. What do you need to do? You need to be invited. How will you get invited? You register. Cradle.com. www.cradle.com. Register there. Get your invite. 9th of November. Show up. Ireland, here we come.
I will spell Cradle.
Craydel.
Okay. So www.
Cradle. The R is actually R. And the L is actually arrow.
Okay.
Cradle.com.
Cradle.com. Sawa kabisa. City, you know, we've also been talking about the importance of having airtime whenever you need it.
Yes.
If you want to call somebody, you don't want to go there and then you start calling and you run out of airtime. Or you're browsing and you're in the middle of browsing and then
same sound.
Same. You know, you've just run out of data. You're sending a message and then you cannot send a message because you run out of airtime. No. That's what Safaricom have said. They come up with a all-in-one package. All-in-one is many things. It's what?
Well, it begins with a certain amount that is useful if you pay it. But when you pay it, then you open up all these streams of wonder. You get 1,000 talk time. In terms of talk time, 1,000. You get 2,000 SMSs. You get 17 GB. And then to top it off, you get free WhatsApp. 2,000 Kenyan shillings.
Like that?
like so.
Free
but
WhatsApp.
Yes, but if you have 500 shillings, you can still have an all-in-one for that 500 shillings.
Very good.
Yes.
Very good. And that's why Safaricom is saying, how do you get registered for the all-in-one, Ndu? Dial star 544.
Hash.
And then?
You then go to option number 4.
Okay.
Which is go monthly.
Go monthly.
Then you now click on go monthly. And then you see the different options of what you can have, the different bundles that you can create. Of talk time, SMSs, data, and all of this with free WhatsApp, right?
Yes.
You can get to figure out which one you want. You want to pay 500? You want to pay 1,000 for the 2,000 minutes that CD's talking about? 2,000 bob, 5,000 bob. What's your fancy?
Very good. Very good. Education doesn't end. Education starts from your kindergarten, early learning, goes into primary years, into secondary years, into post-secondary years. How do you get into the post-secondary years? What do you do after high school? And that's why our next guest is coming here to talk to us about it. Anne Wanjiko Munene is the director of the St. Elizabeth Academy in Karen. Good morning, Anne.
Good morning to you, sir.
How are you?
Very well, thank you.
Welcome to Kenya's biggest conversation.
Thank you, thank you. I feel very welcome.
We call that the hot seat of the Situation Room.
Yeah, it is hot.
Not so much. Make yourself comfortable. Enjoy yourself. We were asking ourselves earlier, and City is very good with direction. Let's see whether you will give the same direction that City had given us. Where is St. Elizabeth, Karen?
St. Elizabeth, Karen, is actually within the vicinity of Karen Shopping Center. This is a school that was built or has been in existence for the last 27 years. And by the time I went there to do the buildings, that land, you remember, it used to be owned by the Queen. So
Which Queen?
Queen Elizabeth.
Allah?
Yes, the Queen of England. And that in those days, when I looked for it, that was in 1992. It was just a forest. Today we have quite a number of people that are living there, and they need also they need quality education.
That's true.
And this is why St. Elizabeth was established exactly 27 years ago.
And you bought the land from the Queen?
The Queen had given that land to the generals of the Second World War. You can imagine that we inherited that long. And we bought it from one of the colonels.
Okay.
Yes.
Karibu sana.
Thank
City, please welcome Anne with the day's proverb. Every week, Anne, City goes to an African country. He researches programs from the proverbs from that country, and then he comes with 5 of them, one a day, Monday to Friday.
Wow.
In the last 4 weeks, he has been in?
We have been in the Maghreb region of Africa.
Yes.
That is Northern Africa. Yes. And this week we are in the final country that we are going to mine proverbs from, and we are in the state of Libya. Yes.
Numbia.
Libya.
Yes.
Kwa Gaddafi.
Yeah.
Kabisa. Kabisa. He who has luck will have the wind blow him his firewood.
He who has luck will have the wind blow him his firewood. And what do you think the Libyans are saying with this proverb?
I'm an economist and an educator.
Bas.
It is very rare that we will interpret poems.
Okay. You are an educationist. Okay?
Yes.
One of the things that you will find in school is teaching using sayings and proverbs and so my friend, this one you're not running away from. How do you interpret this proverb?
What do you think the Libyans were trying to say?
When you hear that, repeat the proverb, City.
He who has luck will have the wind blow him his firewood.
That means the wind, if you are lucky, will light up the fire. I'm imagining you don't need to keep looking for newspaper old ones to light up the fire.
And blowing with a pipe.
Yeah.
See, an economist can interpret poetry.
It's possible.
Yeah, of course, it's doable.
Yes, it is.
Yeah.
So apart from the economic sense of looking at a growing neighborhood, and that neighborhood will have a need for quality education, what inspired you to get into education?
I'll give you a small, just within 1 minute. My grandfather used to be a teacher. My mother was a teacher. I decided I needed a different line of thought, and I became an economist. But my father kept on insisting a good wife is only a teacher. A teacher. Because you teach and deliver kids and feed them, and the population will grow. So as I was now entering into my 30th year, my father kept on insisting, and I had to make sure that I listened to him. And that is how now I entered into the teaching profession. Instead of being in the money market as an economist, he told me the best woman on earth is a teacher. And he kept on insisting. And I think because my mother was very good, he wanted me to be just like how she was.
Okay. So you decided to found a school.
And that I did. In 1977, I tried. That is when I first taught, and I was employed by the late Bishop Sisa Gatimu to open up St. Bakita Girls, which is in Nyeri. And I went back to teaching, and I decided, other than being a risk analyst, I should go back and teach and set up a school. And there was great need because in Karen, those days, we only used to have one public school. And children would be studying outside the classroom and in their, hundreds. And I decided, let me come up with an institution of learning that will take care of the children from this area. Majority of the children used to be taken 5 kilometers away every morning by their parents. Like from Karen all the way to Strathmore to Consolata, it was very far. And this is why St. Elizabeth was established, is to give good education environment, have learning going on and well, and at the same time, not running away from our Christian faith. So St. Elizabeth was established in 1999. January 1999 is when we took the first class. And from then on, we have now been able to establish St. Elizabeth in Nairobi. We have 2 schools, and St. Elizabeth in Mombasa, in Miritini. And we are still working on, because we have the 4th school that is coming up in Kinangop in January 20.
Next year?
25, yes.
Okay.
And the beauty about us is that we've been able to come up with programs that are assisting the children. And these programs are assisting, take for example, children who are not able to cope with the theories in class. Some are not able to even deal with mathematics by way of the conditions of their birth. And these children have been given opportunity because we introduced, even before the CBC came, we introduced the teaching of home science, the teaching, the cooking, and the growing of plants, various types of plants. So children, and keeping chicken, and collecting eggs, and showing them how do you rear a chick to where it now starts giving you eggs, and how do you market the eggs to have money in your pocket. So all those things we introduced them early on. And we are very happy that the Kenya government now came up with a program with the CBC, because that is what was missing. As we grew up, I remember it was some years ago, in 1966. I don't know where you are. That year.
I don't know.
That
I don't know either.
That year is here that we were taught in my class by teacher Christine Kavaita how to cook ugali. I know majority of the current
What
Kenyans.
class was that?
That was, I was in grade 4. We can say standard 4 that time. And we were taught how to make ugali. Yes. We were taught how to make ugali. And in central Kenya those days, there never used to be ugali. Only mokimo. And so we were given notice by the teacher who was to bring firewood, who was to bring water. And we made the fire very early, waiting for teacher Christine to come now. We didn't know the unga. In those days, there never used to be unga. And teacher Christine came and made this special ugali. I will never forget. She put the water on the fire and added some salt in it. And then continued to make the ugali. Can you imagine the class? We could not even wait. And because I used to be among the top girls in the class those days, she gave me the piece of ugali and told me to confirm whether this ugali was good. And let me tell you something. Even before I tasted, I'd already given an answer. It was the best ugali I ever ate in my life. The only most unfortunate bit is that she didn't teach us that ugali you eat with some vegetable or some stew.
All right.
This is why she had put salt in it, so that we eat like this. And so even when I grew up, my first ugali I served people with
salt.
With salt. And I will tell you, I had to tell everyone, you to explain to me what next. And this is how now I got to know you eat ugali with some stew. You don't just eat
you served
ugali.
ugali in one serving, like an itaha of mukimo, you know?
Yes, yes. But with some vegetables. But that notwithstanding, I have been enjoying my career. I'm happy, and I can't choose any other. Not even working in World Bank. I would prefer to continue working as a teacher.
Right.
And so St. Elizabeth, we guess we are the only institution of learning also that has established a good studying in terms of developing young men and women. And we launched, at the celebration of the 27th year, we launched a new way of looking at our candidates, the Form 4 candidates. Once your daughter finishes Form 4, or your son, and they come home with a C, probably, like a majority of some of the kids, they are not doing well in Kiswahili. And so that drops them down. And they only think about now moving to go and study some diploma or some certificate so that they can bridge. But it is only St. Elizabeth that has been appointed from UK to start enrolling and training for 1 year all those children with C grades. And we are happy that we've been able to establish the International Foundation Program for the university entrance in very, very many countries in the world.
So the International Foundation Program is basically looking at those who have scored below a certain mark.
Yes, they are C and above.
Okay.
You know, the universities in Kenya with C, you have to go and start a diploma. Then from there, go to a degree. But we are saying these kids may have just missed 1 point or 2 in some subject that is not going to become relevant in their future career. why can't we give them opportunity? Instead of them repeating class and all that, we came up with the International University Foundation Program. And this program is recognized in the UK. All those who want to go and study in the UK, to go to Canada, to go to US, to go to Australia, to go to Turkey, and UAE, they can move immediately. They finish our program, which takes 3 terms. The first 2 terms is intensive learning on the career path. Take, for example, you want to become a lawyer. You have to pass certain subjects, and those are the ones we concentrate on and prepare you now to go and study in the country of your choice. And we are the people that are setting up that and giving you the admissions. Your work is just to get your ticket and your school fees paid by your parent. Yeah.
So this is after you finish high school. So in this case, Form 4.
Yes.
So after you finish Form 4, then you can now come and enroll. So are you looking into particular subjects? Or are you looking? Is it broad? What exactly are you preparing students for before they take a university year?
We are preparing them to enter to study the degree of their choice. Take, for example, someone wants to go and take medicine. And, for example, the English that they had done previously is where they dropped in their grades. And this is why they're done well in chemistry, they're done well in biology, but they failed or they got low mark in their English, for example, in their composition, which rolled them down. So we are preparing them now for that particular line of thought, where they want to become doctors. We prepare them, they study biology, they study chemistry, they also study English again, the English and its application.
Okay.
And then from there, we get them enrolled in the university of their choice.
So let me see if I get this right.
Yes.
So this is a student who'd like to go and study medicine.
Yes.
Right? There's a certain entry grade for medicine in these universities.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you have to pass certain subjects. You must pass in biology. You've got to pass if you're studying
It's biology and chemistry for
right?
medicine, yes.
And then you have these other subjects that you had to do. You had to take math.
Yes.
You had to take the compulsory subjects in Kenya.
Yeah.
You had to take math. You had to take English. You had to take Swahili. So if it was the Swahili that had given you a lower mark, but you still got above C, right?
Yes.
Let's say you even had a B plus, but it everything else was strong. But what affected you was the languages.
Yes.
So you now come in and focus on the languages. Is this student going to sit the entire gamut of exams again? Are they going to recite chemistry and biology plus now the English and Swahili and maybe the math?
Actually, when someone has scored grades that are above the lower limit of the university where they want to go to attend, that is when you come on board to teach them the same subjects. Where, for example, I've given Kiswahili as an example because majority of the children that are studying in our institution, for example, and many of these private schools, they don't do very well in Kiswahili.
Yeah.
And Kiswahili being a compulsory subject, it knocks down their marks at the end of KCSE. And we are saying Kiswahili is not the end of the road. Let us train these young men and young women in the career path subjects out of what they did in Form 4.
Okay.
We know that Kiswahili they failed.
Okay.
And we sharpen them on the study skills, for example. We sharpen them on the IT. And we sharpen them on the course subjects that they are supposed to do for the particular course they want to take. We ignore these others where they are weak. Like you're weak in Kiswahili, you can't go on in Kenya in the university because you failed a core subject, which they feel you must have passed.
Yeah.
But we are saying the other universities out there, they are not looking at your marks that way. They are looking at what you want to achieve, a set medicine you want. If you want to become an economist, did you pass your business paper? Did you pass your mathematics? Then we introduce the IT And we introduce the study skills so that you are taught how do you study when you go there, out there. Do you skip lessons and still get your marks?
So what I'm not getting is, let's go with the economist.
Yes.
Right?
Yeah.
So you need to have passed in mathematics.
Yes.
You need to have passed in your business studies.
Yes.
And then let's say, because of Kiswahili, you then did not get the
qualify here in Kenya.
You didn't qualify here.
Yes.
Right? But you qualify for that university in the UK.
Yes.
So why do I need to bridge if I already qualify for the university in the UK?
You qualify, but for the universities in UK and any other place, you have to have orientation. You have to be taught how do you get here, how do you study here, what are the core subjects per career path. And those are the things that we are teaching them. And I gave an example. In Kenya, if you get a D, you know D? If you get a D, let's say in Kiswahili, and you even get a C plus in business, and others you get C plus, C stand, you will still get a mini grade of a C. Because you failed the key subject, that is Kiswahili. You know, you must pass in Kiswahili, you must pass in maths, and you must pass English and English.
Yes.
Therefore, if you fail one of them for some reason, it affects everything else because it cannot be ignored when the grading is being given.
Okay.
And we are saying those children with the C, they are not failures. Once they are given opportunity to study only the subjects that affect their career, what they want to be, they will make it. And this is where we come on board.
Okay.
Where we want them to come and study the core subjects. And the core subject, they are going to do English, that is academic English. They are going to do IT applications, and they are going to do study skills. Those are three which are compulsory. And then from there, they take 2 subjects out of another 8, which are going to give them the career of, of their life, of their choice. Yes. And this is where I gave an example. If one wants to take, even become a pharmacist, for example, you have to take the 3 and then take your chemistry and take your biology. And that's all. You don't need to take geography. You don't need to take Kiswahili to pass to go to university.
Okay.
Only that.
I get it.
Yes.
Let's take a break. When you come back, we'll start by asking you, so why do I have to sit that KCSE and get that discouragement and spend another year? Why don't you just enroll these people at Form 3? So they can just do this and prepare them for the abroad universities. Anyway, It's 26 minutes to 8. Our guest this morning is Anne Wanjiko Munene. She is the director of the St. Elizabeth Academy in Karen City. Where is the St. Elizabeth Academy in Karen?
First of all, do you know where Karen is?
Okay, you're coming from Nairobi.
Okay. And
Take us to Karen.
So the question is, you want to ask, what road are you going to follow when you're going to Karen?
Very good.
Okay.
Ngong Road.
You follow Ngong Road. You go with that road until you get to a roundabout. And this huge roundabout, there's Karen Shopping Center on your left. And there's a road. Ignore that road. Take the roundabout and continue going straight.
At the roundabout, take the second exit.
Yes.
Okay.
You take
Turn
the second
left.
exit. No, this one you don't turn. You just
go
go
straight. Go straight.
Then on your right, there is a Karen police station.
Yes.
All right. As you go slightly ahead, there is a Shell petrol station. All right. Now, something like 50 meters ahead, there's a road turning to the left. Immediately after that, in front of it, there's a big sign, St. Elizabeth School. Take that road. Then you go not too far.
Under the canopy of the trees.
Believe me, on both sides of the road,
jacaranda.
beautiful trees. You like, even on a hot day, it'll be cool.
Beautiful.
Right ahead of you, you will like to see another sign, St. Elizabeth, and it's on your left.
Okay.
You can't possibly miss it.
Not after that description.
Yes.
Thank you.
Okay. I am sure Anne will tell us she called it St. Elizabeth because the initial owner of this land was Elizabeth.
Not really.
Not really? Okay, you'll tell us why.
This is The Situation Room. the only way to start your day.
Hi everyone. You may have heard about the official Study in Ireland Fair happening next month on November 9th. Can you tell us what the students can expect?
Dublin City University is Ireland's university for transformation and enterprise. We currently offer over 60 undergraduate programs and over 40 master's programs. 96% of our graduates are in further employment or further studies within 6 months of graduation. If this sounds interesting to you, please join me to learn more about how you can strengthen your future at DCU. Looking forward to seeing you there.
That sounds fantastic. So everyone, make sure to visit the official Study in Ireland Fair at the Gallant Mall, Parklands on November 9th. Make sure to register by visiting www.cradle.com or call 0799 000 444.
The weather with SpiceFM.
Sunny conditions in Nairobi, 17 degrees with highs of 27 and lows of 16. And we'll see lows of 13 in a sunny Nakuru at 15, going to highs of 28. 27 will be the high in a partly sunny Nyeri at 16, down to lows of 14. And we'll see highs of 25 and lows of 13 in a partly sunny Eldoret at 16. Currently, it's sunny at 26 in Mombasa. We'll see highs of 32 and highs of 31 in Malindi, where it is sunny at 27. 18 and sunny in Kisumu with highs of 31, while Kakamega at 18. Sunny, we'll see highs of 30 and lows of 15. Kampala is sunny at 19 with highs of 29, and Dar es Salaam at 26 is sunny as well, going to highs of 31 and lows of 25. Sunny conditions at 11 in Johannesburg with highs of 24, and into Mogadishu it's a sunny Tuesday at 27 with highs of 31 and lows of 25. 14 and sunny in Addis Ababa with highs of 23 and lows of 10, while into a partly cloudy Lagos at 25, we'll see highs of 31, and at 25 it's cloudy in Kinshasa with highs of 32 and lows of 24. Okay, so we're looking at some traffic starting to build up really on Langata Road. As you get out towards the Nyeri Stadium roundabout, there's traffic then getting onto Aerodrome. As you try to then touch on Huru Highway, right there at that Bunyala Road roundabout, there's traffic coming in at the junction rather. Also on Ngong Road, traffic through to the city starting to build, and we're entering into traffic hours, so all understandable right now. On the Thika Superhighway, still heavy as it is on Kiambu Road, and on to many of your avenues, parklands. A lot of traffic this morning. Limuru Road is starting to pack up. Coming in from Peponi Road, Red Hill, all of this area very, very busy this morning. Out onto Waiaki Way and into the city, traffic is also starting to build. We're in traffic hour now, folks. Let's see what happens this Tuesday. Talk to us as we try to keep things moving this morning. SpiceFM KE on X, hashtag The Situation Room.
Mature, intelligent talk every morning. Spice up yourself. Mornings done right. 94.4 Spice FM, Nairobi.
Next 20 minutes to continue our conversation with Nwanjiko, who is the director of the St. Elizabeth Academy. It's about the IUFP program. It's an International University Foundation program, a one-year university pathway course designed for students whose main goal is to further their university education abroad, and more so in countries like the United Kingdom, the USA, Australia, the UAE, Germany, Netherlands, Canada, Malta, and Turkey. Normally, students are enlisted in the course after their final exam in KCSE or IGCSE, and they are scheduled to attend Form 5 and 6. This is a pathway for them because they will be exempted from taking the 2 years in high school, and as such, they'll only require 1 year of studying and passing the IUFP before proceeding abroad for their degree studies. Okay? So first you have to sit this exam, and then now you come for this pathway. And for those that to qualify for this, you must be 844 or secondary with C and above. Higher. British curriculum, year 11 to qualify for it. And then when you come for this 1 year, then you're doing this core subjects, which you said is academic English, IT, and study skills. And then you have some elective subjects based on now the pathway that you want to take. So who guides me through this?
When you come into the institution, we have the admissions desk. And that admissions desk discusses at length before the student or the learner enters the class. They have to know exactly what is it that they want. Do you want to become a teacher? Do you want to go and work in a bank? Do you want to work in the medical field? Do you want to become a researcher in medicine? All that, we discuss it on admission desk. Mm-hmm. And they are correctly advised. And when they go to class, if they still feel they need to change, they have options to change within the first 2 weeks of learning.
Okay.
Yep.
What have you seen that this year provides for students who now then get into university later? Essentially, what fruits have we realized as a result of them doing this year?
I'll tell you, in 2004 is when I introduced the A-level, the year 11 and year 12, to those who have taken the local curriculum, the KCSE. And I am very, very proud to say those who had failed in KCSE and entered the A-level program, they made it and they have become great lawyers and doctors in this republic. Mm-hmm. That means we should not just throw away the kids because they failed our 844 Form 4. They still have hope. Maybe something happened during the exam time and one was not able to do well. We are giving them a second chance. Mm-hmm. And after we tried from 2004, we were so successful that I wondered why it wasn't introduced. And this is why we went all the way to find other ways that we can still eliminate the failures in our institutions of learning.
Mm.
Yes.
Once you have, if you sit KCSE,
yes,
and you had, say, and for purposes of this conversation, failed some of these compulsory subjects,
yes,
but then you went ahead and you got admission to a university abroad, and you then qualify from that university abroad with a degree, you come back to Kenya. Will the Kenya National Qualifications Authority recognize that university if they look and see that the KCSE you had not passed?
For information, the qualifying authority also recognizes those other curriculums offered all over the world. Once a student has not been able to get to our university because they failed, for example, I'm giving Kiswahili, because this is a key subject where a lot of children...
And you see many people.
Yes, a lot of children don't do well.
Mm.
And when they don't, and those who perform very well in Kiswahili, they fail these other core subjects like chemistry and biology. So this is the way our brains are set up.
Mm.
But you seem to only be taking care of those that qualify. But those who fail because their brain is a little smashed on those particular subjects, they don't have an opening. And the opening is now, is where we are saying those with C and above, and who may want to proceed to university to do a degree, they have a way now. They come through this program, and once they have qualified in it, they'll be admitted in the universities in all these countries. And even our qualifying institution will not fail that student who's made it and has done law in the University of Leeds, for example, in UK.
So what you're saying is that this student who did not pass in English, but then went ahead to study law abroad, can come back and can join the Kenya School of Law, so that then they can be admitted, sit the bar exam and be admitted to the bar in Kenya.
Yes, because they have qualified
even with
in the International University Foundation Program.
So, let me ask. So essentially, what the International University Qualifying Program does is like a bridging course. It enables you to build or to add to your qualification subjects perhaps that you had been weak in, so that going forward, they will not be a hindrance to you achieving the goal you had or to study the subjects you wanted at the university level. Is that what it does?
I want to make it clear. IUFP focuses on your strong points. Take, for example, you had failed Kiswahili in O-level. I'm using Kiswahili just to standardize for the listener.
Yes.
If you had failed Kiswahili, in Kenya, you may not go far because the universities will consider that as a core subject, which you are supposed to have passed. But it is not a core subject in a university in UK, for example. So what we will do ourselves is that we will give you 1 year preparing you to join the university out there by reinforcing what you are capable of studying. We ignore that Kiswahili because it's not compulsory in the university in Britain. Are you getting? That we improve on your qualifications that are leading you to the career of your choice.
Okay.
So we don't stress you. You don't know how to do incha, for example. And we are still insisting you must run incha. You get what I mean? And yet yourself, you don't want to run incha because you want to go and work using English as your language. So we don't just down the tools for our children simply because they did not do well in the 4 core subjects that we consider as Kenya. You must pass in Kiswahili, you must pass in mathematics, you must pass in English. You get what I mean? Those 3 subjects, yes.
When you qualify, this is I think what Eric was asking.
Yes.
And you come back to Kenya.
Yes.
Will your not having done well in Kiswahili affect you?
It won't affect you because now you bypass that one by doing this foundation course. And this foundation course is reinforcing the career that you want and what you want to do for Kenya. You get it? For example, you didn't do well in Kiswahili, but you did very well in mathematics. Because we have brains like those, where you find the child is very keen on English. For example, even the current CBC, you find a lot of children don't know Kiswahili now. It's not like when they were doing 844. The Kiswahili now is a little less attended to, and even a lot of them they want English. If you base your analysis on the Kiswahili, then you'll have to forgo so many souls, yes, that are not keen on it. We are saying those children who failed certain subjects, they cannot be condemned wholesome for their life.
Sure, but if they needed those particular subjects for later on in their career, so would we say that this 1 year then would help them improve where they may have gone wrong? Because I still come back to that particular issue that even if you do go to a university outside and come back into the country, into Kenya, for example, you will still need the Kiswahili at some point.
The Kiswahili that you need at some point is a communication with the people, but not one where you are tested.
Okay.
Take, for example, in our day, we never did Kiswahili. Even the one I know, Niamta. So, but I still communicate using Kiswahili with the parents. But here we are talking about professional Kiswahili. You have to do incha, you have to do this, and you have to do that for you to qualify. You get what I mean? Yes. But in the ordinary life, you don't need incha if you're working as a banker. And here I am saying, those children that have not made it, and I'm giving hope to those sitting the exams now, exams in Kenya today. Those that will qualify with C, Kweda U, will be able to reinforce that one to acceptable limits by all the universities in the 7 countries that have appointed St. Elizabeth to prepare those children for them.
Okay. Are there specific universities that have then appointed St. Elizabeth?
It is all the universities in the countries listed. In the countries listed.
Okay.
Yes.
So it's the education system, for example, in the UK,
yes,
that has recognized
yes,
this IUFP and
yes,
St. Elizabeth as an IUFP center.
Yes.
I see.
We have also been a center for the British curriculum from 2004. So you can see our experience in terms of performance of preparing our children that are not able to fit into 844 before 844. Those whose kids could not cope with Kiswahili or cope up with some mathematics, they joined the British curriculum and they have done very well. So we don't throw away the children. It becomes all inclusive for the benefit of all the Kenyan kids.
Right.
And we are saying, please, and this I'm telling all the candidates, I wish you the very best. And I look forward to meeting those that would want to have a change in their career path so that we can advise them.
You mentioned that CBC,
yes,
maybe one of the best things that happened to Kenya since sliced bread.
Yes.
What have you seen has been a transformative factor to the children that you teach with the change of the curriculum in the last, 6 years now?
I will tell you a secret. This is the best thing that ever happened to Kenya, and I wish we can all embrace it. Before, the kids could not be benchmarked minus core subjects, which were all theory. There was no practice. Take, for example, almost about 5 or 6% of our children are not able to cope with theory every day.
Yep.
They had no opportunity to become men and women of repute because they could not cope, like I said, in reading incha and composition, but their hands were gifted in technicals. Today, we are able to see a farmer from a grade 2 child who is very aggressive, reports to school very early, and has convinced the parents that he's got a duty, he has some chicks that he's feeding. Are you getting?
Yeah.
We have introduced the learning in a different way from the way it used to be theory. Now we have a bit of theory and we have a bit of practice, the practical. And this has made a great change. And if we all can embrace this one, it will change the number of school dropouts that you see.
The theory of it sounds very good. Is that the practice? Like, do we have enough teachers who are able to spend time with the children and the learners and tell, this is a child who is stronger in this area, in the arts, this one is stronger in academics, and so let me spend more time, nurturing them as they grow up from the grades 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, so that as they're coming up, you can tell you are helping the farmer become a farmer and to learn more about farming, and you're helping the researcher to actually get to understand more about researching in the academics. Do we have
I will tell you
sufficient
what is happening
resources to actually help this work?
Yes, resources are there. What we are doing now is during the holidays, like now when we close the school, after the KCSE exams are over and the IGCSE A-level exams are over, we are retooling the teachers. For 2 weeks, they'll be in class. And every teacher will be sharpened and become a better person. And knowing that these are teachers who've been taught before the various subjects in their schools, they are able now to come up and cope with it after the retooling method. And I am requesting also that every teacher feels keen to check where they're being retooled and must attend those courses so that they become of use as we open January 2025. For St. Elizabeth, we are retooling them in our institution of learning. We have people coming on board to come and sharpen them and show them where they don't know and how to apply it. So we, in a short while, it's just like when we came up with 844, which was not there before. those teachers of the previous curriculum, it was very difficult for them to understand this incher stuff that you have to copy, you have to teach, and they were not used to core subjects when you were sitting exam, and I guess you are in the same age, and we were not having those types of 844 stuff. But now people don't want to move from 844 because they are so used to it. But the 844 is just theory. Everything is theory. And it was excluding those children who are not able to cope with that magnitude of theory. Now we are saying it is good time for us to look at our economy, our people, again better, and introduce those ideas which can prosper them. And this is the time.
If you look at the theory and the thinking behind the 844, you are actually spot on up to a point. The issue that perhaps bedevils our systems of education is the practice of it.
Yes.
Because if you looked at how the 844 was framed, there was a lot of practicum in it. But it became tricky for some of those things if you are an urban school. See?
Yeah.
Now, the CBC seems to have taken up from there and they're moving forward. But if you go to an even earlier time, remember we did have technical schools. There were schools, but they were technical.
Yep.
What happened to them? We, in my mind, sometimes I look at the education system, it's like we keep going full circle. We start up with something that seems to work, then we get rid of it, only later on to come back to exactly where it is that we had left off.
Good.
And perhaps this is where what you're talking about becomes useful. It becomes useful because you are then able to say, okay, this is where we are, but we don't have to be stuck with this one here.
Yes.
No.
How do we bridge it?
How do we bridge it? How do you make sure that people who are keen to move ahead have an opportunity to actually go ahead? Because if we stick to what we have, then they are stuck, and at some point they'll have come to an end, or their learning will have come to an end.
Yeah.
They're saying, how do we ensure that this learning doesn't come to an end at this point simply because of this?
Yeah.
Yes.
And for the IUFP program,
yes,
is it only open to students who have sat through St. Elizabeth Academy, or is it open to anyone?
No, all the students that are in the Republic
how
of
does one
Kenya.
apply?
They only need to call the number of admission, and the number is 0722 873 115.
Say again.
The number is 0722 873 115. Or they can drive to St. Elizabeth. It's right on the road. You can't miss St. Elizabeth after Karen roundabout. It's just the first turning on your left, and you see so many signboards indicating what is going on in that school.
You can ask CT.
But this should be after they have sat their KCSE.
We are admitting, we are admitting the January intake. They are the ones who report now in January, and the next year's January, 2026 January, they will be on the way to the country of their choice.
Very good. And you help them through that?
Yes, we help them through that program.
Okay.
Yeah.
Very,
it is, I will tell you, I love Kenya. I love Kenyans so much. I can't go to work in UK. I want to work here.
Study there, come back and work here. And Wanjiku Munene is the director of the St. Elizabeth Academy in Karen. She's been our guest, telling us about what next. What next after high school? Focus on International University Foundation Program, which is what we've just talked about. So the number to call again, 0722 873 115. Keep it here for more. It's 8 a.m.
Spice up your life. The latest news from around the world. 94.4 SpiceFM.
Good morning. This is the News Wire. I'm Leo Muga. Now, DCI officers have arrested a suspect by the name Victor Oma, who's linked to the murder of Wells Fargo HR manager Willis Ayeko. The man by the name Oma is currently being detained at Lydiah police station, with him expected to be arraigned today. National Assembly Speaker Moses Wetangula has issued a stern warning to chairpersons and vice chairpersons of various committees that they risk removal from their roles if they repeatedly skip House sessions. In an address at the National Assembly Leadership Retreat in Naivasha, Speaker Wetangula emphasized his commitment to streamlining legislative processes and eliminating unnecessary delays. The Speaker emphasized the crucial role committee chairpersons play in the House, noting that they serve as a key link between the legislature and the executive. Former President Uhuru Kenyatta has expressed the need for various nations to put in place strategies to strengthen security and defense institutions in order to face terrorism and extortion cases in Africa. Speaking during the inauguration of Nigeria's National Defense College Course 33 in Abuja, the retired president said strong security institutions have the ability to deal with economic crimes.
And the way in which they function as a collective towards the pursuit of national as well as regional objectives. To address the problem systematically, we must have some level of introspection across all layers of government and politics. By instituting reforms at the national level, we are laying the foundation to reinvent ourselves as Africans at the sub-regional, regional, and continental level.
Nandi Senator Samson Cherargei says his bill to extend the term of office of the president and elected officials from 5 to 7 years will help the country save money. On his Twitter account, Senator Cherargei says, for example, in 2022, IBC spent 35.8 billion shillings to run the general election, which has left the commission with a debt of 2.1 billion shillings. However, leaders who oppose the bill, including Nairobi Senator Edwin Sifuna, have termed the idea absurd.
Unajua pale bunge kama soko lingine lolote hakuwezi kosa wazimu. Kuna wazimu pale, siku moja anaamka analeta mswada ambao hauna mbele wala nyuma. Anasema ati anataka yeye amechaguliwa miaka 5, anataka kujiongezea hadi miaka 7. Na nataka niwaambie leo kama katibu mkuu wa chama cha ODM, huo mswada hauna uungwaji mkono kutoka kwa seneta ama mbunge yote wa ODM.
Police in Suba West Homa Bay County have banned funeral vigils, popularly known as disco matanga, and night prayers, commonly referred to as keshas. Suba West Deputy County Commissioner Samson Akach said this is one of the strategies to protect school children during the long holidays. Akach noted that the night vigils are a security threat and serve as breeding grounds for social ills like sexual immorality and drug abuse, especially among the young people. Akach directed chiefs and assistant chiefs within the region to crack down on such activities in their areas of jurisdiction. 2 Boda Boda operators have died following an accident along the Narok-Bomet highway. Police say the matatu was heading to Bomet from Narok while one of the motorbikes was heading towards Narok. Police further said that the second motorbike, which was joining the highway, rammed onto the Narok-bound motorbike. The 2 Boda Boda riders lost control of their motorbikes, colliding with the matatu and dying on the spot. And in the international scene, around 40 soldiers were killed in an attack on a military base in Chad's Lake region over the weekend, the Central African country's president has said. President Mohamed Idris Deby was in the area on Monday to launch an operation to track down the assailants, a presidency statement said. The presidency blamed Sunday's attack on Boko Haram in a second statement issued later on Monday. That's the news wire. I'm Leah Ubaga.
Okay, where are we at a few minutes after 8 o'clock? Traffic still continues most parts of the city today. Still heavy coming off of Thika Superhighway. And let's take a look at coming towards Muranga Road and then onto the Globe Cinema roundabout. There is some traffic here as well. It's very busy on the Thika Superhighway coming in from the Allsops Junction. All traffic coming in from Outer Ring is going to meet this. Juja Road, there it is, in and outbound traffic, very busy. On Limuru Road coming into the city, whatever is happening between Red Hill and United Nations Avenue out towards Karura is very, very busy today. Bumper to bumper. Lower Kabete is giving towards Spring Valley, and Red Hill Link Road coming in from James Gishuru also very busy onto Waiaki Way. And this whole area, Lavington, coming in from Gitanga Road and then from Gongro on the other side, we are in traffic hour proper. Let's take a look at how this all evolves as we get through it this morning. Talk to us on SpiceFM KE on X, hashtag The Situation Room.
This is The Situation Room, the home of hard-hitting political commentary and penetrating insights about the state of the nation. This is a talk radio experience like no other. The Situation Room, a place for hard truths, debates, and elevated conversations. The Situation Room, witty, political, engaging, deep, controversial. In the room, we have C.T. Muga, researcher, academic, seasoned political observer, a fountain of wisdom in these politically uncertain times. Ndu Okoh, Nigerian by birth, Kenyan by choice, communications expert, Pan-Africanist, a truth seeker and believer in people power, and Eric Latiff, agent provocateur, the man in the chair, seasoned journalist, news hound, a man who believes in punching up, not down. This is The Situation Room, the only way to start your day.
7 minutes after 7. City Muga. Okay. The Aga Khan University Hospital wants everybody to set aside 9,950. And it is a very big investment in their life.
Yes.
Why?
The reason why they want to do that is for a very simple reason. When people talk of healthcare, they think of you going to a health facility so that you can actually figure out what's wrong with you, meaning something has to be wrong. They're saying before it gets wrong, what you need to do is find out exactly what your health status is. Now, a health checkup does that for you. So that when you sometimes feel that tingling in your fingers, is it that you slept on your arm or is it something more? They'll tell you. If your tummy is constantly paining, you'll figure out whether it is something you ate or your intestines have twisted. If you suddenly find that your knee constantly hurts, and so on and so forth, you want to avoid a situation where an ambulance has to be called and your next destination is the ICU. Because then you're going to be dealing with the cost that you're not prepared for. The 9,950 forestalls all this. It gives you an opportunity to understand your health status so that you can deal with whatever it is that may be ailing you well in advance, before it gets to an advanced stage where now it is not only crippling you, but it's crippling your finances and the finances of those whom you love. It's as simple as that.
Simple.
Yes.
Simple. Okay. For the next 1 hour, we're going to be talking about data privacy and digital finance. And we've been talking about this, an organization, a company that's been operating in Kenya for 10 years, has endeared itself to the market quite well. And before we get to understand that, let's talk about education. We continue the education conversation. Cradle.com.
Cradle. Cradle is in the business of making sure that you can get to the level of university education that you want to anywhere in the world. All right. And so there have been a couple of things that they've been doing over the last few years. And we get into another study fair that will be happening on the 9th of November. So let's say that you want to take your university education to Ireland, all right? So there is the official Study in Ireland fair that takes place on the 9th of November, courtesy of Cradle. And they said, look, you know what you can do? Come and meet the top universities in Ireland and apply on the spot. Find out information about scholarships, find out information about visas. You'll be able to consult with people who will let you know the best options when it comes to career opportunities in Ireland after you finish your university education. You have direct access to these top universities. You have great expert visa advice and consultation on the spot. So you imagine you walk into the Gallant Mall in Parklands on the 9th of November at 8 a.m., 9 a.m. You get all this information that you need and you leave at 1 o'clock with all the information you need. You would have applied for university on the spot. You'd have gotten your visa information. You'd have gotten career information, and you go home when you know what it is that you want to do. Log on to www.cradle.com. That's CRAYDEL.com. And that's how you can get an invitation. Because remember, invite only, but you can get an invite if you register.
Very, very good. Very, very good. Now, if you don't have fare to go to Parklands,
ask CT.
Go to Tala.
Oh, sorry.
Do not worry, CT will go to Tala.
Yes, go to CT will go to Tala. So, Kennedy Osore is the head of public affairs at Tala, Kenya, and is our guest for the next hour. Kennedy, good morning.
Good morning, Latiff.
How are you doing?
I'm doing well. How are you?
Unakaa tu pesa. Yeah?
Asante. That is a compliment.
Pesa utas. Hey, so we're going to be talking about Tala in the market, but also broadly look at this industry. Very, very misunderstood by very many people. But those that have understood it have seen the benefits of it. So we'll hear on both sides. City will first welcome you with the day's proverb. And this week, the proverbs are from the state of
Libya.
The state of Libya.
Yes.
Okay.
He who has luck will have the wind blow him his firewood.
He who has luck will have the wind blow him his firewood. Kennedy, what's your interpretation?
He who has luck will have the wind blow his firewood.
No, him. Yes.
Okay. My interpretation of that proverb, if I think about it, is if you have the odds on your side, then a lot of the things you probably endeavor to do or are happening in your life will go the right way because you are a lucky person or things are stacked on your side. That's how I will think about it.
If your stars are aligned.
Yes.
Lakini moja tu ikitupa nini hivi.
Nyota ikikataa kidogo tu hivi becomes another problem.
Changes. Hauna moto. That's a good one. Tala.
Yes.
We've been talking about Tala. Tujijenge na Tala, being in the country for 10 years and also and so on and so forth. So I assume that you've come from your head office, which must be somewhere along Kangundo Road. Over Tala. What's the origin of this name Tala?
That's a good question, and I think it has been asked before on this platform. And Tala, let me start by actually saying that Tala is a company, is actually a global company. We are not just based in Kenya. We started in Kenya 10 years ago, as you've mentioned, back in 2014, and then went out to other markets. And if you look at the mission that Tala has, it's actually to expand financial access to underserved communities. And so we looked at which other markets can we tap into this space that we want to service. So from Kenya, we went all the way to Philippines. So we also in Philippines. From Philippines, we went into Mexico. And then we are also in the US as our headquarters office based in Santa Monica, California. And we are also in India. So those are the spaces we operate in. And before that, Tala, back in 2014, we started off as Mkopo Rahisi. And that, of course, will resonate within the local Kenyan context. You'll understand what Mkopo Rahisi is. But as we expanded and became a global outfit, we had to settle for a name that then will resonate with all our customers across the different markets. So Tala actually means different things in different languages. When you go to Philippines, there's a language called Tagalog. So it means something in their language and they're able to resonate with it. If you go to India, there's, I think, Sanskrit. Tala means something like a star. And also here in Kenya, of course, there's Tala that you've mentioned, Kangundo Road. But I understand that there's a local language, I'm not so sure which one in particular, that Tala means something to them. Like counting, almost like counting something.
That's when you have the RIRO issue. And the word Tara becomes Tara, which means count.
Yes. So
For real?
Yes.
Oh, okay.
That's the origin, actually.
That's a red
With
lorry.
you put the R in the Tara,
The L-O.
it becomes to count.
I'm so confused, but okay.
So this is the origin, basically, just looking at how do we globalize this brand.
And make it relatable
and make it relatable in every market that we are in.
Exactly.
Makes a lot of sense. Okay. So when you started as Mkopo Rahisi and then you were moving as Tala, what was the business then? And is it still the business today?
So we've gone through a journey, and I think this 10-year point is just a good time to reflect on that kind of journey that we've had. Tala is actually a pioneering fintech company.
Sorry, before we move on, Shambisa is actually in Kitaita. Tala is to count.
Perfect.
Okay, let's continue.
So Tala started, we are the pioneers in that space. When we began, digital finance was not really a thing that was properly understood. But there's a gap that was identified, which our founder, she's called Shivani Siroya, realized that there's a gap which traditional financial institutions are not servicing. So then it was a question of how do we get into that space and bring all these underserved and banked people within the financial system. So at that time, it was heavy on credit. How do we extend credit to this segment of the population? But over time, over that journey, and because one of the key principles we embody as Tala is how do we design our products with the customer at the center of it. So there's a lot of customer centricity. And there's an evolution. So you start with extending microloans, but as you journey with your customer, you realize there are certain unique needs that they have that then we need to start also addressing. So over that period of time, we've thought through with our customers in mind, how do we evolve as Tala? So initially heavily known for digital lending, but we are now moving, we're in that stage of evolution where we want to become a full financial services provider and roll out other products that will involve payment, savings, and what have you. Just to ensure that that journey of evolution that our customer is experiencing, that we're also working with them.
So that's interesting. You talk about working with the customer because, look, when we look at what the lending atmosphere has been, that it was really just fulfilling a need for people, right? You need to borrow whatever. What is it? 5,000 shillings. You borrow, you pay back or not pay back in some cases, and then you move on. The business continues. But then when you talk about working hand in hand with a customer, have you actually seen that folks have been able to have access to this credit and have grown as a result of it, and seen actual growth because of the service that you've been able to provide for them?
And at Tala, actually, that is a key thing for us, because one of the other ways we like to look at ourselves is that beyond just being a financial services provider, we're actually a data-driven company. A lot of our decisions and how we project or how we roll out some of our products are heavily dependent on the kind of data we have. And out of the insights of that data is then how we tailor these unique sort of products that will meet our customer needs. And over time as Tala, we have done research. We have come out with impact study reports. And even there's something we call the money match report that we release also. And these reports just go into trying to examine what is the impact that this space of digital lending, and also Tala in particular, has at the end of the day. Because we are not just fulfilling a need of somebody getting a quick loan to settle some emergency, but we are trying to push for that agenda around financial inclusion. So we have to measure against that parameter. Are we having that real impact? So if you look at those kind of reports, you'll actually see a lot of interesting insights. And one of the things we've also noticed is even from a gender disaggregated sort of data, you will find interesting insights around how women will borrow and how their repayment sort of approach is as compared to men, the youth, small, medium enterprises, and that kind of thing. So you're almost able to, out of those insights, realize that if this is the segment of the population that is taking this kind of credit, how then are they using it to improve their lives? Has there been, especially when you look like at our, let me call them mature borrowers. So somebody that you've worked with, either the 10 years that we've been around, or 8 or 9 or 7 years. This has been a consistent customer that has borrowed from the get-go. If you trace their journey, and we actually take customer testimonials. I know one of my colleagues was here the other day during Drive, and he can better even speak to that, because we are able to go to the ground and capture testimonials, and customers actually saying how Tala has changed their lives. If they had a business, how that has made them improve from one stage to the other. So those are the kind of data we rely on, just to also make sure, in as much as we are a business, are we still tracking to our mission? Because at the core of it, we're a mission-driven company, which is about enhancing financial inclusion.
Okay. From in those years, do you think this market, or no, your business has gotten better understanding? If you look at, the kind of borrowing patterns and the thinking and the perceptions in the market then versus the perceptions in the market now, is it changing?
I think there's a huge change in perception, particularly because there's another critical ingredient that as Tala we are really committed to having it in, and that's around financial literacy. And financial literacy is all about how do we make you aware around planning your personal finances. Initially, I have to admit, because it was a relatively new space sector, there wasn't much of that, and people ended up borrowing just for the sake of borrowing.
It was mkopo and rahisi coming together.
So it's just coming, it's a quick loan, Let me just quickly check this. But then there was a gap, because at the end of the day, it will trap somebody in sort of a debt cycle, where you take a loan, and before you are even done using it, or there's another loan that is then coming out of it. And then also with the entry of a lot of players in that space, loan stacking became an issue as well. So you take from Tala, you take from another player. At the end of it, you have like 10 different loans from all these different players in the industry.
Yeah.
But as it evolved, there became a need to now, how do we also educate our customers? Because it is also in our interest as a player within that space to ensure that we enhance financial health. It is not, it does not work out for us well when we have issues around debt stacking and that trap of debt cycle. It's all about responsible lending. How do we make our customers know that I'm taking a loan and it is for a particular purpose, and I'm using it in a way that I know at a certain period of time I'm going to get money to repay it back. So it becomes a lot of responsibility in that. So literacy became a big thing for us. And what we did as Tala is, even within our app, you will find that we have a learning center where we continuously put in material that our customers can interact with, that can then help them better plan their finances. And even beyond from the app, we've had sessions where we do like workshops and invite players within the SME space to just come and hear from experts around, as you do your businesses and you take up debt and loan, how do you then plan yourself in a way that then everything is just good.
How have you been able to keep it comfortable for folks in terms of interest charges?
So one of the biggest things I think that we have done as Tala is particularly around transparency. And I know interest discussions is a delicate one, but to ensure that our customers are fully aware, because here it's about someone making an informed decision when they're coming to take a loan with you. So it's about how do we make our customers clearly understand, and in a very transparent way, that this is the kind of charges that will attract. There are no hidden fees. This is the interest per this period of time. If you take a loan with us and you are repaying within, let's say, 30 days, this is the interest that is going to accrue. If there's a late fee, in case there's you've paid late, this is the kind of fee that comes to it. So we are very clear on that. And even if you go within our app, during that process where you need to take out a loan, all this information is given to you in a very clear and accessible manner. It's not hidden within some fine print where you then get shocked all of a sudden, like, wow, I didn't realize that there was this case. And even beyond that, we give it a human touch. So you're able to reach out to our customer care and support team. Because sometimes even, as Kenyans, we always want to know we can interact with, I can pick the phone and talk to somebody. I don't want just this digital thing. So we have our customer support team that is then able to even break it down further for you and make you understand that this is how the charges look like. And I will say that our charges are competitive looking at the space that we operate in within the financial space, and they are very clear. So the transparency for me is what I would say would make our customers then make an informed decision, so that by the time they're going with Tala, they actually understand this is what I'm going to pay.
Yeah. Every time we talk about this space, the digital and micro lending space, people just think, okay, so this is not for me, right? There are those who look at it and they're shocked when you hear the statistics. Oh, there are actually people who are borrowing hundreds of millions if you just look at that sector, how people are borrowing and how people are repaying within 7 days, within 14 days, and so on and so forth, and you're asking yourself, what are people doing with this kind of money? I mean, and how much are they borrowing? 5K, 3,000, 5,000, 10,000, So there's always a question mark of what are people borrowing to do with such small amounts of money. So debunk that myth. What are people doing borrowing 5,000, 10,000 and repaying in 5 days and then borrowing again?
There are actually a number of use cases for the kind of loans that our customers take. And it's actually interesting that you might think, and I like the way you started by saying somebody will look at this and say, this is not for me. Interestingly, we have people just like myself who actually are employed, they are salaried, but Tala becomes one of the best financial partners they have around. And this is just because of the nature of also how life sometimes happens. So you might have a steady income, yes, but you'll have instances where there are certain gaps because of how your income comes in. And life emergencies do not care about that your employer sends your salary on the 29th or the 30th. If it happens that an emergency has occurred on the 18th, and you did not have enough money on you, or you didn't have any, you'll have to find a way to sort out that emergency. And it could be an emergency in a number of ways. It could be medical, it could be any number of things. If you're a parent and you have a child, you get a phone call that Wairimu calls you, something has happened, we need to rush your kid to the nearest. They say they need around this much to just maybe give him medical attention. And you happen to look at your M-Pesa, you only have like maybe 200 shillings, for instance. Your bank, it's that time of the month, I've maxed the money that I had here. Then you remember you have this partner called Tala. And you've probably been a customer with us and you've walked that journey with us. You quickly go into our app, probably for what emergency you had, you just needed 4,000 bob. You go in, you say, I need 4,000. And in a matter of minutes, you have the 4,000 wired into your M-Pesa account, and you're able to sort that sort of emergency. That's just one use case where you'll see Tala will work with you. And take a step back and go back to when we didn't have players like Tala in the market. And probably the only people that will give you a loan, either the bank or even SACCOs. Now picture when you have such an emergency, how that will be for you. For a bank, I would assume, and I've not done it a lot myself, like to think I'm more of Gen Z millennial, that type of side. You will walk into the bank, probably queue for the longest. You'll have a stack of papers with you just to prove who you are, what you earn, and all that manner of documentation just to assess your creditworthiness. And before you know it, even the emergency that you wanted to solve clearly, time will not allow you to do that. But then everything now has become digital. And as Tala, we have heavily leveraged on AI and machine learning to even do faster approvals. Because from that, we're able to quickly assess, can we extend some credit to Latiff? And if we extend, what is the limit we can give him? And what sort of data points do we pick to ensure that we are responsibly lending to you? Because remember, one of the key things also around the willingness and the capability to repay. Those are things we have to assess to quickly make the addition and say, if we give him 4,000, based on his transactional history or any other data that you are able to assess, he's able to repay. So that we also make it easier for you as a borrower to repay. So that's one of the use cases I wanted to highlight. But there are several other use cases, even from small businesses that use that, get credit from Tala to stock up on their stock, which then after they've sold, so there's a cross-cutting number of use cases, and it could be anyone basically.
So even anyone who's running a small business, because also the other mindset is when you think small business, you're thinking you're mama mboga there, you're thinking yule jamaa wa miwa, you're thinking yule jamaa anauza mogoka pale, but you're not thinking that you also are running a small business, right? And at some point you will need that kind of cash injection just to run your business, right? Okay, let's take a break. It's 8:30. Kenya's biggest conversation is having a Tala conversation, but not just about Tala. It's about data privacy and digital finance and what the companies like Tala and others are doing in the market. Tala, registered and regulated by the Central Bank of Kenya, and also registered with the Data Protection Commissioner. So when you talk about data, and you talked about data points, which is a big thing that we are coming into, that you're using data points of mine to be able to tell. So what information of mine are you looking at? And I want to know, man. Have you actually seen that SMS from a school telling me you need money? And then you're like, yeah, he has actually received an SMS. How much information are you seeing? Let's discuss that with Kennedy Osore, who is the head of public affairs at Tala, Kenya.
This is the Situation Room, the only way to start your day.
Hi everyone. You may have heard about the official Study in Ireland fair happening next month on November 9th. Can you tell us what the students can expect?
University College Cork, or UCC as we call it, is situated in the heart of Cork City. We are the second largest city in Ireland. We have a wide variety of undergraduate and master courses in UCC. UCC was voted the 6th most sustainable university in the world, something that we're very proud of. And also, we were voted the best student campus in the Education Awards in 2021 and 2022. We look forward to seeing you in Ireland, in Cork, in UCC.
That sounds fantastic. So everyone make sure to visit the official Study in Ireland fair at the Gallant Mall, Parklands on November 9th. Make sure to register by visiting www.cradle.com or call 0799 000 444.
Save money on your rising electricity bill with StarTime Solar Home Solution. We offer a complete home and commercial energy saving system that includes solar panels with 15-year warranty, lithium battery with 10 years warranty, and an inverter with 5 years warranty. StarTime Solar Home Solution is efficient, reliable, and safe to power essential appliances, complete home lighting, refrigerators, air conditioners, washing machines, microwaves, iron box, instant shower, and entertainment devices, television, computers, Wi-Fi, and so much more. Say yes to reduced electricity bills and call us today on 0719 077 777 and get started on your green energy journey today. StarTime Solar. Power your life.
The weather with SpiceFM.
Nairobi this morning at 18 degrees sunny with highs of 27 and lows of 16 through Tuesday. 17 and sunny in Nakuru with highs of 28, and we'll see highs of 28 in a sunny Nyeri at 19. It's 19 and sunny as well in Eldoret with highs of 25. Looking into a sunny Mombasa at 28, we'll see highs of 32 and highs of 31 in a sunny Malindi at 29. It's 22 and sunny in Kisumu with highs of 31, and we'll see highs of 30 in a sunny Kakamega at 21. 21 sunny in Kampala with highs of 29, while Dar es Salaam at 28 is sunny, highs of 32. We're looking into a sunny Johannesburg at 13 with highs of 24, while Mogadishu at 29 is sunny with highs of 31. Addis Ababa at 16, sunny with highs of 23 and lows of 10. And we're looking into a partly cloudy Lagos at 25 with highs of 31, and at 25 it's cloudy in Kinshasa with highs of 32 and lows of 24. Busy this morning in the city, quite some. Ring Road Kileleshwa is doing crazy things. Ring Road Westlands, just as crazy. James Gishuru getting on towards Waiakiwe and then crossing over to the Red Hill Link Road. Whatever is happening here is a 9th circle of hell. Lower Kabete going towards Spring Valley. Very busy traffic inbound from Red Hill. Also then trying to join onto Waiakiwe. It's going to be a bit of a headache this morning, folks. And on Limuru Road, as you come in from Hospital Hill, there's some traffic here. Ridge, very busy, coming through into Muthaiga, New Muthaiga, out towards Muthaiga Road. All of that is madness. We're also looking at the same kind of madness coming in on the Thika Superhighway. Outer Ring not doing too bad this morning. A little bit of traffic on Juja Road, and we're seeing some of that on Kangunda Road as well. Inbound from North Airport Road, outbound on Outer Ring, touching on Embakasi. That's very busy this morning. Cabanas Interchange will not give you too much of a headache, at least not for now. We're still keeping an eye on things this morning and see how they unfold. We are in Traffic Hour. Let's talk SpiceFM KE on X, hashtag the Situation Room.
Mature, intelligent talk every morning. Spice up yourself. Mornings done right. 94.4 Spice FM, Nairobi.
5 to 9, we continue our conversation with Kennedy Osore, Head of Public Affairs at Tala, Kenya. Data privacy in digital finance. So you talked about the various touch points, the data touch points that you have with your AI that helps you to determine whether I am willing and capable to repay a loan should I ask for one. So what are these touch points?
So let me start by just saying at Tala, we are committed to protect personal data. Actually, one of our core values as a company is on something we call radical trust. And it traces back to our origin with our founder when she started the whole concept around issuing credit on a digital platform. Because if you look at it and you think about it critically, by the time you're actually giving somebody credit and there is no security tied to it, it basically means we're in a trust business. And so trust defines a lot of what we do, and even how we then interact with data from our customers is on a foundation of trust. And on the other side as well, we want our customers to know that anytime they are dealing with Tala, they are safe in Tala's hands, and that their data they can trust we will handle it well. So to your question around what data we take, there are a number of data that we have to access, and we do this by first allowing you to fully understand clearly in very simple terms. So it's not hidden in legal jargon where you can then just, I just need money, let me quickly click these things. So ideally when you download our app, let's assume you're a first-time borrower and it's the first time you're interacting with our app. So you'll have to download the app from Google Play Store and start the process where you then just register on the app. So that is a space where we allow you to then give us certain data about you so that we are able to understand who you are. And that data, as I mentioned earlier, will enable us to also, through our machine learning systems, to be able to determine your creditworthiness.
Okay.
And we've put it in such a way that sometimes this has appeared like a friction point with our customers, which we've accepted to take it in as a business because that data privacy concept is central to how we design our product. So you'll find by the time you are going through the motions at the app, at the start of it, there'll be screens that will appear that will directly ask you on specific data that we want from you. So it won't be just a lumped up list somewhere that you have to rush through at the bottom and click and say, I accept. We'll actually force you, so to speak, to examine what we are asking you and for you to fully, while you're informed, to say, yes, I actually accept opt-in to give you this, and then go to the next one, like that. And it's almost like 5 different screens that you will see, asking us the kind of data that we want from you. And this data, we are taking it with the principle that is also in law around purpose limitation. So we are only taking data that is essential for us to provide these services to you. So it's not data that we just want for the sake of it. So that guides us, and this is something we have within our privacy policy, but it is also enshrined in the Data Protection Act of 2019. So once you are clear and you've given consent that this is the data that we are going to access, and these are the reasons why, then we can now go into the app, register, and borrow and request for a loan.
So you're saying essentially that there is nothing outside of what I, as a customer, for example, have given you authority to share or to request that you will not.
Precisely.
So there will never arise a situation whereby you have gone and you've given, what is that thing they say that everybody in my contact list, for example, you have access to, like you said, for purposes of, further information later or understand what the situation may be. Let's say you do that and have a conversation with somebody about, okay, Ndu has not paid her loan. Can you have that kind of conversation with that individual? Or what kind of information are you getting from from the people on my contact list? Because these are the issues that people would have, right? What kind of information are you getting from CT who's on my contact list, or Eric who's on my contact list? Is Ndu okay? Have you seen her? Or, by the way, Ndu owes us some money and has not paid. what exactly are you asking these individuals for? Because you've said that I've indemnified myself essentially, and I said you can have access to my phone contacts, provided that this is information that you're getting. So who's the fly on the wall who's making sure that when you're in that room speaking to my people, that what you're asking of them is what I've allowed you to ask of them?
Let me first start by saying that we are very clear, and we do not shy away from saying, as a business, as Tala, that we will never contact anyone in your contact list. And that is a mantra we do not only say, but we live by. We only contact you as the customer. And the reasons as to why we would pick data from your contacts list is around what I said, around the data points that we use, even extricating behavioral insights. So one of the data points is around network usage. So you might find you're a customer, but within your contact, within that network of contact, there are other Tala customers within them. So it's for us to see if Ndu has within her network of contacts other customers, and we've seen that these customers have a good repayment history. It is more likely then that if Ndu associates with those kind of people, that her capability to also pay or her willingness to pay would be like that.
Okay.
So it's the contact is not to contact them, but to see within, and this was almost ties to the concept
show me
of
your friends.
Yes, it's like guarantors almost also, if you look at it, that if Ken and Muga can guarantee Latiff, and we know Ken and Muga are fairly good, they've been in our circle, then clearly then Latiff is somebody we can trust with this money. But let me take a step back also just to address an issue that was there previously. And I mentioned that when this started, it was a nascent sector. So a lot of also the regulation within that space was non-existent.
Yep.
And between, I think, years 2018 to around 2021, there was like a proliferation of so many rogue players within the space. And when they came on board, there was no proper self-regulation, so to speak. And a lot of harassment, debt harassment was experienced.
Yes.
There were concerns from customers where you find your contacts have been lumped into probably a WhatsApp group. And then the messages are being thrown around, Ndu has our money, she's not paid, WhatsApp and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So that happened. But at Tala, we, because of being pioneers in the industry, we realized we need to be proactive to actually address some of these things, even before regulation came into place. And that's why even the association that is there currently that oversees the sector, it's called the Digital Financial Services Association of Kenya. We are the founding members of that body. And the aim here was, how do we come together and self-police so that we then enhance these issues around consumer protection. And then we proactively engaged with who then now are our regulators like CBK and ODPC, way before the regulation caught up with the space, to then see how can you come in and make sure and sanitize this area. Because wherever there is, they say in a market there is always
a madman.
madman. So it was a question of how do we then make sure, because we are here and we are pioneers, and the tag of pioneers is both a blessing and a curse.
Yeah.
A blessing in the sense that you are the ones who started this, so you most likely carry a lot as you go with it. But also you carry a lot of the flack that happens, the negativity. So that if somebody gets some sort of harassment, they'll be like, wale watu wa Tala wamenipigia. Because Tala is synonymous with digital lending.
Yeah, so like one toothpaste is called one brand.
Yes, we are the Omo of digital lending. So we carried a lot of that. But also that came with a lot of responsibility. Then how do we proactively shape the kind of environment we want to operate in, which then also enhances consumer protection? So we did quite a lot of work with that. We are registered with the ODPC, among the first batch of players in this space, both as a data controller and a data processor. And this comes with a lot of legal requirements. And remember, for us, we don't just view data privacy for our customers as only a legal requirement. It's actually at the heart of what we do. There is something in the law they call privacy by design, where as you are building anything, a service, a product, you start from the point of how do I ensure that whatever I'm building enhances privacy, and privacy does not become an afterthought. So that is something we have put in within our product development process.
So, when I have downloaded Tala from the Google Play and it's on my phone, what else is that app doing when I'm not using it?
When you're not using it?
Yes. It's on my phone. So what else is it doing? It's checking my contacts. Is it reading my messages? Is it switching on the mic at some point? Is it doing all these things? Because that's for example, there's somebody here, Amos, who's saying that what they're experiencing in Europe is apps that pick up even our phone mics whenever we talk about a product or topic, and all of a sudden start seeing adverts, right? So how much is Tala controlled in terms of what it's doing, what that app is doing in the background?
So I'll still take you back to what I mentioned around our privacy policy, and then how it governs how we collect your data, how we store it, how we process, and even how we use it. And everything that happens within that app is governed within those parameters of what we've set out in our policy. So if we say we only need data from you, and these are the data points that we've picked, which, remember, they were very clearly outlined even at the point where you were signing up. And beyond signing up, now that you're a customer, within the app, there's a link you just click that takes you directly to the data privacy policy. And one of the challenges that I think a lot of people out there have had is there's a lot of legal jargon within this. I don't have the time to read it. We've really tried to simplify this in a way that is very clear, where you go and it's very specific without a lot of words, that these are the data sources that Tala will pick. Then enumerated 1, 2, 3. These are the reasons why. You have the right to withhold certain data from us, or even reach out to us and say, I want this certain data either removed, deleted, erased, because those are the rights that you have. But we're also clear in telling you that we need this data to provide a certain service to you. So in the event that you withhold some of it, we may be unable to provide that kind of service. So it's very clear. So the customer understands how that happens. So even when you're not using your app, like right now, maybe you've not gone to borrow, you know that the app is there now trying to pick other signals. It is only for the purpose of, are we looking at, for example, Ndu's transactional history, because now she's gone into the app and she wants a certain amount of money. It is only for that purpose. And also, I mentioned something around our machine learning. One of the key challenges that is within the digital space and even the digital financial space is around fraud. And we've seen issues around SIM swapping and even identity theft. So our machine learning is also there to enhance certain security protocols and identify fraud. We've seen people steal other guys' IDs and use that to borrow money. So how then do we try and put in measures to sort of mitigate against those kind of risks? So our app is only picks those data points for the specific purposes that we have mentioned to you, and you've allowed us to do that.
That's what you say. What's the guarantee that what you're saying is exactly the truth?
The guarantee is that, let me find the best way to put this. So the guarantee we give you is, remember I mentioned that we are a mission-driven company. That the whole idea that we have is around how do we enhance financial inclusion? How do we make sure we build products that meet our customers' unique needs? So it is a very trust-based sort of mission. And we are the ones who started with that trust foundation. We came to you and said, we don't know you. We don't know your history. We are not going to ask you for stack of papers, but we are going to trust that we will give you this money because you need to solve something in your life and you're going to repay.
And I didn't give you any guarantee.
And you didn't give us any guarantee, any security. That is the DNA that runs within Tala. So starting from there, now we are coming to you and saying, the same trust that we've been extending to you, trust that we are going to utilize your data in this specific way. And we don't just want you to bank on that trust only. We are bound not only by our internal policies, not only by best practice. Remember I mentioned we're also a global company, but there's also the law. And we've shown in our history that we've been proactive in trying to shape that environment that actually gives you more control of your data as a customer, where you can then make informed decisions. So judge us by our history, judge us by the track record we've had, and judge us by even how we've done our business. I think that's the sort of guarantee that I can put in.
In this learning center, because you have a learning center on the app, right? Do you also continuously enhance and talk about that message of trust and say that these are our regulators, and should you have any issue, you can even get in touch with them? Because one of the things, of course, with data is I see there's a level of, if there's the Office of the Data Protection Commissioner who is oversighting you, then also give me that reassurance that we are under the ODPC, and you can even get in touch with the ODPC. Should you talk to us and you have issues about our data, you can also still talk to the regulator. Are you open to that?
Actually, if you look at most of our, I think even these,
the banners that we have.
The banner might, down there we actually clearly indicate that first we are regulated by the Central Bank of Kenya. And CBK has very clear regulations for DCPs, that is digital credit providers. And some of those provisions actually even make reference to data protection, in as much as data protection is overseen by the Office of the Data Protection Commissioner. And then now I've also mentioned that we are licensed, both as a data processor and a data controller, by the Office of the Data Protection Commissioner. It is actually something that we pride in, because then it means beyond our internal systems that we've put in place, we are proud that we are even actually licensed by this regulator. And we call it out in a lot of our engagements. We've been running a data privacy campaign, and right now we are talking about something we say, tutachorea. So that is part of the awareness that we are creating.
What does that mean?
Tutachorea basically means, and I hope I'm not getting it wrong, is you'll find that there'll be certain rogue players who will want to divulge your personal finances matters, like when they're doing debt collection, to
third parties,
including your family, including members. Those we were talking about contacts and whatnot.
Yeah.
But for us, we realize that finance is such an emotional concept. When you're dealing with money, and if I can take an example of men, we normally don't want our manenos to be out there. If I borrow money from Muga, I wouldn't even want Latiff to know. Hiyo ni mambo yetu. So a lot of people are like that, even from like our Kenyan context. So we are basically saying, sisi tukifanya na wewe, hiyo ni mambo yetu. We are not going to other people and telling them, this guy has our money and he has not repaid.
Kuchorea is the Sheng word for tutakanyagia your story.
Tutakanyagia your story.
Your story ni yetu.
Hiyo ni yetu tu. And we are handling it between ourselves.
Chorea city. Chorea.
And before that, we ran another one where we were saying, hatutakuanika. And we had billboards, we had branded buses, there's a lot of marketing material out there, basically saying hatutakuanika. And we had like a guy put on like a
on the clothesline.
On the clothesline. Yeah. Just a message that will resonate with our customers, for them to understand we will not put your affairs out there. That is just for us, and we are handling it between ourselves. So that's how we go out there, and we remind people that we are actually licensed, or DPC. These are the rights that you can actually report something to a DPC. And even internally, we have a dedicated team. So we have our data protection officer, where any complaints regarding data protection are then channeled to this specific resource, who can then deal with them.
Okay. Yeah. Several things will happen because of my borrowing history with Tala. You'll keep increasing my limit, right? What's the maximum limit?
Currently, the maximum limit is 50,000.
50,000. Yes. What's the minimum?
Minimum is 1,000.
So I'll start off at 1,000, then keep increasing because of how I'm borrowing and everything else, and the AI will keep playing those games and increase my limits. Is the AI also looking at my borrowing and repayment history and reducing my interest? What I'm asking is, does my credit score work for me? Beyond, I know the credit score works against me if I am those, bad borrower. If you can see that I'm, in a loop of credit and all those things, then you're like, let's limit this guy and let's retain this credit. So if it's working very well, that you can move me very fast from 1,000 to 50,000, can you also drop me in terms of the interest rate?
So there is something we call risk-based pricing. And that is something that is also embedded within the calculation of interest. And even right now, if you look at it, the regulator, which is the CBK, is actually pushing for adoption of risk-based pricing, because then that allows you to actually personalize finance or credit to a particular customer. Because I can't treat Latiff probably and Muga the same if your trends of borrowing, repayment, and probably any other details around you are different. There's need to personalize that to you. So if you have been in default, probably, how that AI will calculate the interest, the risk profile for you will be different. So there'll be like a margin in terms of where that interest plays at, depending on your risk profile.
Okay.
So if you're a less riskier person, and this will be determined by your history, then within that margin of interest, you will get something that is probably lower compared to somebody who's a bit more riskier.
Okay.
Yeah.
Does the app tell me, well, we have assessed and
Because
you're doing
of
so
one-
well in terms of your risk profile, so we are offering it to you at this %. So that I keep knowing that it's because of my performance that I'm actually improving in terms of the interest.
I know for sure that the app will show you the interest that will be applicable to the loan you've borrowed. I might need to check whether it will tell you that this interest is lower
than the average market.
Yes, because of your risk profile. I might need to confirm that and check. And probably that's a good idea. If it's something that is not already there, then just to enhance that transparency and trust with the customer, it could be something that might be adopted. But I'll need to check that and confirm whether we actually indicate to the customer.
How did you handle COVID? Because during that period, very many people who previously or prior to COVID were in a position to not only borrow but to repay, and then suddenly their finances went this way and that way, and were not able to meet the obligations that they had.
COVID was a tough time, I think, for customers and businesses alike, and everyone just went through a rough patch, I'll say. And within even the credit space, there was a lot of, I would say, a lot of defaults, and this was because of the nature of the environment at that time. No one was actually just getting money. So businesses lost, and I think to a great extent also customers felt the pinch. Our business, I believe at that time, slowed down a bit, naturally as any other business would have. In terms of specifics on maybe how that impacted financially, I'm not sure I have the exact details of how that impacted, but I know business slowed down. Even the rate of giving credit out to customers was hampered. And even a lot of our customers, I think, during that period of time, because of what was going on, were not able to repay their loans. But then I mentioned that our customer support team, because they're very accessible, you'll be able to call and say, I had this business, my shop, clearly because of 1, 2, 3, I was unable to repay you. Do we get into a plan where then we can sort of structure that loan? And so we had those, particularly our mature sort of borrowers.
Were you getting in touch with the borrowers, or were you waiting for them to get in touch with you?
So it was both ways. So we have a system where our collections team, based on certain milestones, actively discuss with our customers. So based on a certain milestone that somebody has reached on the collection process, our team can either reach out to you directly and say, we've looked into your file, this is how things are looking. Is there any challenge you want us to assist you with? So that's one side from our side. But we also have the other side where, and we encourage our customers actually to do that, where if you already even start seeing trend that probably you are not able to make a repayment, then you proactively reach out to us, tell us this is the issue. We'll assess that and see, and probably get some evidence from you just to back up your claim, and then get into arrangement where we are saying, okay, then this is how we are going to structure the payment.
I asked for that period specifically because I'm interested in knowing, since you're a data-driven company, the percentage of people who had problems, how many of them volunteered and came to you instead of you going to them?
You want the numbers?
Percentage.
Yes. On average.
I might need to look into that and just ask, because we have a team and somebody who leads that particular department, just to get the numbers. Also, just for my knowledge to understand how exactly it played out.
Behavior.
Yes. So we can get back to you on that.
Thank you for joining us today. It's been an enlightening story to learn about Tala. And yes, Tala is count in very many languages, in Kikamba, in Getaita, and many others. Kennedy Osori is the head of public affairs at Tala, Kenya. We've been talking about data privacy and digital finance in the country. Keep it here for more. It's 9 a.m.
Good morning, this is the News Wire. I'm Leah Umaga. A post-mortem exercise is currently being conducted on Wells Fargo Human Resource Manager Willis Ayeko at the Lee Funeral Home. This event comes as a suspect linked to his gruesome murder was arrested on Monday night. The suspect was flushed out of his hideout in Nairobi's Dandora Phase 4, where he had rented a house. He's being held at Muga Police Station as he awaits arraignment. The investigation is ongoing, with the team analysing crucial leads to uncover and arrest other accomplices. Among those grilled so far are 2 M-Pesa agents who operate in Siaya. This is after it emerged the killers of Ayeko withdrew at least 100,000 shillings from his mobile phone through mobile banking in different locations in Siaya between October 19th and 20th. The Teachers Service Commission has advertised a mass recruitment of 20,000 teacher interns for junior secondary schools. The announcement comes just a week after the completion of recruitment of at least 46,000 junior secondary school teachers on permanent terms. The Commission said that interested candidates are encouraged to apply online through the TSC website by midnight on Monday next week. Mining Cabinet Secretary Hassan Joho has issued 7 conditions for individuals who plan to use fireworks during Diwali celebrations, which will be held from Friday to Saturday this week. Joho insisted that the fireworks display must be carried out in a way that won't inconvenience the general public. Those who plan to use them must obtain permits. They'll only be used at authorized venues, and they'll be displayed between 7 p.m. and 11 p.m. on the authorized dates. Joho also insisted that aerial display fireworks, including shells, rockets, Roman candles, and cakes, must only be sold to holders of permits to display fireworks duly signed by an inspector of explosives. And National Assembly Majority Leader Kimani Ichung'wah has criticized the judiciary for allegedly being controlled by activists. Speaking at the parliamentary conference that is on its second day in Naivasha, Ichung'wah said the court has been cancelling government plans following cases of activism. Ichung'wah, who is also the Kikuyu Member of Parliament, claimed that the courts are misusing the law of public participation. A similar statement was backed up by Minority Leader Junet Mohammed.
This parliament, there have been crisis after crisis. There have been crisis after crisis. We had a crisis of the finance bill. Now we had a crisis of BGG. We don't want another crisis. Now we want to move forward. We are done with the crises. We have dealt with all crises.
The season is here, as Junet says. We lost the finance bill and lost very many good proposals that were in that finance bill because of negative publicity, because of poor communication, and that is part of the reevaluation and reflection we need to do as a house.
All eyes will be on the Supreme Court today as it renders its decision on the government's appeal regarding the legality of the entire Finance Act 2023. The 7 judges of the Apex Court, led by Chief Justice Martha Koome, are also expected to rule on the fate of the Housing Levy Act just days after the High Court, in a different case, found it to be properly enacted. This decision follows an appeal filed by the government, including the Attorney General, the Cabinet Secretary for Treasury, the National Assembly and the Kenya Revenue Authority against the Court of Appeal's judgment declaring the Finance Act 2023 unconstitutional. The court found that certain sections of the Act introduced after the public participation phase failed to meet constitutional requirements for public engagement. That's the News Wire. I'm Leah Ubaga.
.4 Spice FM, Nairobi.
All right, still busy in the city. Looking at what's coming off that Embakasi loop heading towards North Airport Road, busy. And it looks like it's going to continue for some time as we get still into traffic hour. A quick look then also on Kangunda Road, traffic coming in through towards Outer Ring. Then take a look at Outer Ring coming in through that junction heading towards Ruaraka. Very, very busy traffic. Getting onto the Thika Superhighway, it still continues. As we then get towards the Survey and then towards the Pangani Underpass, that traffic continues as well. Muranga Road is busy as you get towards the Globe Cinema roundabout. Okay, let's take a look then at Ring Road Western. Still continues. James Gishuru in both directions is very, very busy. And also Lower Kabete towards Spring Valley, still doing that whole dance with traffic this morning. So, just, my goodness, watch out for that. Keeping an eye on things this morning. Let's see how it continues as we come out of traffic hour in no time. SpiceFM KE on X, hashtag The Situation Room.
One of the things that are ailing our country is negative ethnicity. You find you as a state officer, instead of thinking as a Kenyan, you think like a tribal person.
Let me tell you something. The biggest problem we have had in this country is a leadership deficit. There is nothing that you are going to do in the process of change if you are not a risk taker. So you really have to pursue your vision to a logical conclusion and even be ready to step on people's toes.
When it comes to the economy, you can run away with it. They say statistics are like bikinis. They reveal a lot, but they conceal the vitals. And so government people would throw statistics at you and tell you they're revealing a lot of information to you, but it's really concealing the real vitals.
We need to get out of that, because when we want to grow our democracy, one basic thing that really requires to be understood by the political class, by all of us, is institutions are critical.
This is the Situation Room, the only way to start your day. This is the Situation Room, the home of hard-hitting political commentary and penetrating insights about the state of the nation. This is a talk radio experience like no other. The Situation Room, a place for hard truths, debates, and elevated conversations. The Situation Room, witty, political, engaging, deep, controversial. In the room, we have C.T. Muga, researcher, academic, seasoned political observer, a fountain of wisdom in these politically uncertain times. Ndu Okoh, Nigerian by birth, Kenyan by choice, communications expert, Pan-Africanist, a truth seeker and believer in people power, and Eric Latiff, agent provocateur, the man in the chair, seasoned journalist, news hound, a man who believes in punching up, not down. This is the Situation Room, the only way to start your day.
7 after 9, we're getting on to the final hour of Kenya's biggest conversation. This is the Situation Room. Are you preparing to study abroad after this? So there are people who've just done their A-level exams and O-level exams. There are people who will be sitting their KCSE O-level exams shortly. All of them may be thinking of going to study in Ireland. So some of these universities in Ireland: University College Cork, Independent College, Dublin City University, Technological University of the Shannon, University of Galway, Griffith College, and University of Limerick. What does Limerick really excite you, Ndu?
I don't know, because it's a limerick. It's one of those things that you learnt in grade school, right? There was an old man called John who went and sat on the ton. He tripped on his knee and fell on a bee, and that is the end of the song. It was a thing. That's what a limerick is. And I think they originated from Ireland, if I'm not wrong. Yeah, it's like a poem stroke that the first two and the last line rhyme, and the middle two rhyme as well. Yeah, it's a limerick.
So a limerick is everything you've said.
All those things are limerick.
The bee and the knee and the fall.
So it's a poem where the odd lines
rhyme. Yes.
Okay.
Limerick.
Yeah.
Okay. So the University of Limerick is where I'll go and study all those things.
Where odd lines rhyme.
If you'd like to know more about this university or any of these other universities, please prepare to attend the official Study in Ireland fair. Where will it be?
It will be at the Gallant Mall in Parkland. That's on the 9th of November. And it starts at 9 a.m. to 11 a.m. So actually 8 a.m. to 1 p.m. And you can imagine, so you walk into the room, you register. That's the thing that you must do. You register because that's how you get an invite, and then you want to be there by invite only, right?
Yes.
So you walk in, as it's all this business starts at 8 o'clock. You get to meet all these top universities, direct access to them, not some guy sitting on a back bench somewhere who tells you I know somebody. It's the people themselves. Have a conversation with them. This is what I want to study. This is the time I have. This is what they say. Okay, fine, do this. You can apply there. You can also then have a conversation about financial aid. Many scholarships up for grabs. You can apply and get that information right there. And then even better, you can get information about visas and all this other business, all your consulate information, get that consultation. So by the time you walk in and by the time you finish and walk out, all the information that you need, done, dusted, and you even get a t-shirt. Okay, I don't know about the t-shirt, but as it would be said.
Well, you could go to the University of Limerick
and get a t-shirt that said, I wrote a limerick.
Yes.
Right. Cradle, it's www.craydel, cradle.com. Register, get an invite, turn up.
Very good. Very good. For the next hour, let's talk about Africa and development and all these things that we talk about. The democratic governance in Africa. We talk. We're able to say what our problems are, and in fact, even what our aspirations would be, and we know how to think about it. We can think about how to get to Canaan. We also know that you have to cross the Red Sea. We also know, actually, for you to cross the Red Sea, you need a Moses. And for him to come and part the waters. That would be a very good thing. And we end it there. Tomorrow morning, we wake up, we go and build that thing, the pyramid, for the Pharaoh. And we come back. We should really be thinking about going to Canaan, It's a beautiful place. No more slavery. And then we wake up tomorrow and we go and build the pyramid again. Now, there's somebody who's been on this conversation for a while. And her name, please, Ndu, you've got to allow me to massacre this name
I've
properly.
Left you.
Okay. Dr. Obiageli. You had mentioned, I forgot how you pronounce it.
I had given you
Ezekwesili.
Tell me if you got it. Ezekwesili.
Did I?
He tried.
Dr. Obi, in short, good morning.
Good morning.
All right, now, say your name from the beginning to the end.
Obiageli Obi Ezekwesili.
Obiageli Obi,
yes.
Ezekwesili. City, will you remember that one?
Yes.
Obiageli Obi.
Obi is different from Obi.
Yes, this is
Obi, not O.
It's O. Obi.
And
the other one is
Ezekwesili.
Sounds like a Luo name.
Welcome.
Thank you so much.
This is the hot seat of the Situation Room.
Interesting. I have been warned.
You've been talking to our detractors.
Let me tell you something. I am going to quote the President of the Republic of Kenya, and I'm going to say that stop propaganda. Anybody who is giving you any negative information about our world-renowned hospitality is only spreading malicious propaganda. And you should avoid such people.
Well, I've been told that you're a very intellectually stimulating, conversation platform. And I'm
that was
very
and you should have
delighted.
said that. That's what you meant. Oh, no, that's not propaganda.
It's okay.
That's true. Welcome. So, City will welcome you with the day's proverb. He'll give you an African proverb. Every week he goes to an African country. And then he mines 5 proverbs from that country. Every day a different proverb. And the job of our guest is to listen to the proverb and internalize it for a moment.
Right.
And then you tell us what that proverb says to you.
Okay.
This country is the 4th largest country in Africa and the 16th largest country in the world. It is the state of Libya. Okay.
16th largest in the world.
Yes.
Wow.
You're talking landmass. It's a huge
country.
Huge country. I mean, the guys who are drawing up these things, the partition of Africa, are very generous with those fellows. Because there's some countries where they just give you a small corner.
You called you a country.
I called a country. You're even wondering, what are you supposed to do with this principality? Anyway, He who has luck will have the wind blow him his firewood.
He who has luck will have the wind blow him his firewood.
So they wouldn't have to exert themselves too much. Some extraordinary factor will blow the firewood for them, and they would have energy.
So what do you think the proverb is telling? What are Libyans telling each other? Look for luck? Or is it just a way of explaining away somebody's newfound wealth?
I think
was just lucky.
Yeah, I think that in a way, every community probably has a bit of that, which is that people take into consideration that there might be some divine, influence to life. And for the Christian, it would be that, the Heavenly Father heard my cries and helped me in a context in which I couldn't help myself. Or it could then go in a direction that is not right, in the direction of simply saying, let's just wait for that thing that will blow our firewood to blow it. Therefore, they don't even put an effort.
Right.
And that is a tragedy.
I'm waiting for my luck.
That's a tragedy, because even for the Christian, the Almighty God has given us the faculty to tackle problems that are right within our sphere of influence, which is the earth.
Okay. At least chop the firewood, bring it together, put it at the fireplace, light the match.
Yes.
And then wait for the wind. You can't just be sitting there, no firewood, nothing. I'm waiting for the wind.
The wind will blow.
Actually, it is a phenomenon that is very common with humankind. It's called magic thinking.
Magic thinking. That's a very good description of it.
Okay. Obi, you are president of the Human Capital Africa. I said Obi. Obi. You're president of Human Capital Africa and senior economic advisor at the Africa Economic Development Policy Initiative. What's that? It's a long name.
So this basically is what I began to do upon retiring. I retired from corporate work in 2012. And one thing that I said to myself is those of the leaders on the continent who were trying to carry out important economic reforms and would listen to counsel, I would support them. And so this was the way of supporting them. So it entailed my going to those countries and sitting with the presidents and their economic teams and helping to formulate and design the economic reforms agenda. And giving them the kind of guidance that supported execution of those reforms. To my delight, there were two female presidents on my list. It was President Sirleaf Johnson as well as President Banda at that time.
So let's go to life before retirement.
Yes.
What were you doing with yourself?
I was the vice president of the World Bank in charge of the Africa Region program. And Kenya was one of my key programs within the 48 countries of Africa south of the Sahara that I was responsible for.
Yes. How long had you worked with the World Bank?
So I joined the World Bank immediately after being a minister of education in Nigeria in 2007, and I left in 2012. Yes.
So obviously then, as we look at economic reform, economic principles across the continent, I think many of us would be in agreement that we seem to be falling short of the mark when it comes to things that we should actually be doing as nations to get us to the place whereby we can be economically independent and economically responsible. Where have we left? Where have we fallen off? Things that you would previously advise as a financial institution, but then also today in an advisory role. What's missing?
I think that a key thing that is missing is the inappropriateness of some of the major economic policies that are important for growth. That's one. And then the second, the absence of the regulatory and the institutional context that are anchored on the rule of law and which therefore give a sense of predictability, relative predictability on the basis of respect the rules of the game. Investors and your citizens basically want to see environments that respect the rule of law. And so everything around transparency, accountability, public accountability, understanding that they would not be subject to the precariousness of capricious leaders who then decide that, oh no, this policy does not favor certain thing that I want to do, therefore I change it. And you catch people midstream where they have made important decisions of investment. And so those kinds of contexts matter. We often don't have that. And then the third part of it is there are some basic services that are essential for reducing the cost of doing business for your people, your citizens, as well as for business. When you have those kinds of those environments where governments have made quality investment decisions in providing public goods, so, whether it's the critical infrastructure or it's, really training the citizens to the point where they are world-class talent and skills, that reduces the cost of doing business. It makes your environment very attractive because it enhances the productivity and the competitiveness of your anything that is done within your territory. Therefore, if you don't have these three important factors going for you, there would definitely be you batting below your capabilities. So you have low productivity across our continent, majorly because we have this environment that's not presenting these three critical factors that I call the trinity of growth.
So, is the problem with the political leadership, those in decision-making rooms and tables at policy level, and is it cutting across Africa? We have to be quite analytical about these kinds of statements, because I normally say that in God I trust, every other person must bring data. So when you look, when you judge on the basis of certain parameters, some metrics, let's take economic growth. For a long time on our continent, and especially in what was known as the lost decades of development, we were a continent that was growing at anything between 2 to a little less than 3%. Meanwhile, our population was growing at 3.3%. So it was negative growth situation that we had. Meanwhile, for you to be able to tackle poverty, you do need to grow at a minimum of 7%, and so we're far from it. But then there came a period when we somehow managed to get certain fundamentals right. A key fundamental was, macroeconomic stability. We used to be a continent where, inflation was all over the place, exchange rate volatility was all over the place, just imprudent economic management of our public financial space. So that created a really distorted environment for growth. When that came under some level of a measure of stability, it helped. So by the time of 2002 all the way to about 2009, when the global financial crisis took on, the continent began to grow on an annual basis of anything between 4 to 5%. It was really moving in a good direction. And then the global financial economic crisis took the growth down. It cut it short and took it to below 3%. It started struggling to build it back to where it had been, and then the food shocks came, and then the oil shocks came, and as it kept trying to get back again, the next thing, COVID came. So there were many shocks, multiple shocks at different times that cut short the growth. Right now,
the continent is at an annual growth of less than 2%. I think in 2023, it was about 2.5%, if I get my data right. So we got back to growing at a level that's less than population growth rate. And we can't be stuck here, because without growth, we normally put it this way, that, growth is a necessary, even if not sufficient, condition for reducing poverty.
I have to ask this question. How do we measure this growth?
Okay, so growth is simple to measure. What normally happens is that, because we normally say growth rate is a function, indexed to your GDP, your gross domestic product. So you start with what is gross domestic product, right? Yes. So gross domestic product would be all the goods and services that have been produced in Kenya in a certain year. And so in order to measure growth, we have to say, okay, this was the quantity, the quantum of goods and services produced in Kenya and Kenyan nationals in this year. By 2025, that number has increased by this percentage, by this quantity, and then we change it to percentage, right? When we then change it to percentage, we're able to say that, it was 100,000, but now it's 100,010. So we're able to say, there has been a growth of X amount on the basis of the increase that happened between one year and the other. Okay. So that's the growth. Now, usually, and I know where you're going with this, because I have often seen, no, it's true. When I was VP, I was visiting Ghana. And when I was talking about the matter of growth, one of the Ghanaian journalists said to me, Madam Vice President, I hear what you're saying about this growth, but this growth is not in my pocket. Which was a classic way of defining the quality of growth. Yes. So quality of growth is an issue. The distribution of growth is another issue. The matter of the depth of the growth is an issue. So basically, it's important, or how equitable the growth is. So the growth is not just simply, that's important. We do need to see that increase. But then the next set of questions become, who is benefiting from the growth? How do we diversify the economy so that it can be inclusive growth? So inclusive growth is what then leads you to analytically identifying your multiple sources of growth that would take much more number of your population. For example, agriculture is an important contribution to Kenya's growth. Agriculture, whether it's tea or it's horticulture, for example, where a lot of export happens. But you have to then say, what percentage of the Kenyan population is in agriculture? At what level of productivity do they operate? Because the individual productivity of each Kenyan who is in that sector would matter. Because when they participate and they have the benefit of their participation, that means they are enjoying the growth that happens in the sector. But what then happens is often that agricultural growth is much more difficult these days, because you find that the productivity is lower. Because the subsistence farmers do not have all the things that matter for productivity. So they have to expand the size of their land in order to produce more. When the equivalent in other societies don't have to expand land before they get more. Productivity happens because of factors of irrigation, of seedlings, of financial markets, of research, of all kinds of extension services, of access to energy. They are struggling to have that.
Okay.
And so
I hear what you're saying, but just like the proverb that you can't sit there and expect that the wind is going to blow and the fire will be lit. Some of these things are there. We know, for example, Africa, land is there. we know that certain things can grow. We put it in the ground, it's going to grow. We know that there's resource. We know that human resource is probably it is right now, I think, the highest exported resource on the continent. We know that these things exist. So where does the element of policy play, which more often than not is in the hands of leaders, it's in the hands of governance? We can talk about irrigation for agriculture, but if we don't have policies that are not backed by proper economic management, it is going to be almost impossible to grow. So then goes back to the kind of leadership that you have and who is leading and making sure that these policies are implemented. What role do you see? What is the direct correlation between proper governance and its management and then seeing this growth happen? I see that if you don't have it, you won't see the growth.
What more is there to add? You asked the question and answered it, literally. Because when we talk about the whole concept of the troika of factors that I said I call the trinity of growth, sound policies, institutions, and quality investment in public goods. In all of this, a constant factor underlining the quality of any of these three things is the matter of leadership. So it's a matter of governance. So when we normally say that the absence of good governance is the greatest obstacle to Africa's economic growth and development, that's a fact. It's a fact. So you put your pulse right on why if these things are the things that other countries, let's take an example of is Singapore. A lot of Africans love the story of Singapore, and it's not wrong for us to love that story because they actually started on the development block about the same time as the rest of the continent, having also been colonized as part of Malaysia at that time by Britain. But when you think in terms of the divergences that we have seen of their own growth, progress, and prosperity becoming an upper income economy at 80%, at about $80,000 per income, they are now the almost double of the UK's income per capita. This was a colony of Britain. Now, when you think in terms of what could have made this difference, they got sound policies right, they got institutions building right, they got investment in the right kinds of things. They didn't say, oh, our scarce resources, let's use it to build some fancy thing that the little scanty number of elite in leadership will enjoy. They didn't do that. They invested in the things that would lead to productivity of the economy, to the attractiveness of the economy. So why were they doing that? They were doing that because they had the right kind of quality mindset, the kind of competencies within governance. So if you don't have competent people who understand evidence-based policy making, it's going to be hard. They would make policies on the whim. They would make policies on the basis of I think, I assume, I feel. That's not how good policies emerge. Good policies are based on evidence. And then the other thing is that you have leaders who put their private and narrow interest ahead of the common good. They are going to make warped decisions. They would make decisions that would be suboptimal for common good, and so they would be they would corrode everything else. Or you have the kind of leaders who do not understand how to determine what is the best investment to make. The whole concept of scarcity is that you have to make choices. Now, if you're constantly making poor quality choices, then you're ruining the possibilities for your country, which therefore takes us to the center of the problem of Africa. It is not that we cannot see the pathway of how these other countries have done it. It is simply that we are not having the right stock of leadership at the political and at the technical level.
Very good.
To govern our country.
That's it. We just don't have the right leaders. right? Because we've got the thinkers. And even the technocrats who work in government would be able to provide, they're actually constantly churning data. When you are VP of the World Bank, you are dealing with those technocrats in all these governments. And I'm sure you'll say that you met brilliant minds working for all these governments across the continent. And so the disconnect
They became less and less, actually.
They were reducing.
Because they were reducing.
Because
The
they were
reason they
getting
were
frustrated.
reducing is, there's a certain kind of talent you have and a certain kind of ethical spectrum or ethical rectitude.
There's only
that you
so
have.
much BS you can take.
And you simply say to yourself, this is a waste of my time. So what happened to Africa's public service is that it began to bleed of the top quality talents that it used to have. And that also has affected the capacity of the continent to articulate sound policies and to execute it optimally, even, the sound policies.
Let's take a break at 25 minutes to 10. Our guest this morning is Dr. Siti. What's the first name? Obiageli.
Not O.
Obiageli. Obi Ezekwesili. She is currently the president of the Human Capital Africa and senior economic advisor at the Africa Economic Development Policy Initiative that she founded after retirement from serving in public sector. She was previously a minister in Nigeria, serving in the mining and then later the education docket. And she was a vice president of the World Bank in Africa region. So she's here today telling us these challenges that we have in terms of our democratic governance and the disconnect between that and our nirvana and where we want to be. The difference between Kenya and Singapore, for example. 24 minutes to 10. We'll be back shortly.
This is the Situation Room, the only way to start your day.
Hi everyone. You may have heard about the official Study in Ireland fair happening next month on November 9th. Can you tell us what the students can expect?
TUS is currently offering a €1,000 Sub-Saharan Africa scholarship that is eligible to all our incoming students from the region. There is an additional €3,000 alumni scholarship for all students progressing to first year from our foundation program, giving you a total of €4,000 scholarship from first year till you graduate. 86.9% of our graduates are employed within 9 months of completing their degree. It's such an amazing time at TUS and we look forward to welcoming you. Thank you.
That sounds fantastic. So everyone make sure to visit the official Study in Ireland fair at the Gallant Mall Parklands on November 9th. Make sure to register by visiting www.cradle.com or call 0799 000 444.
Welcome to Spice FM, the best exclusive radio station bringing you the best mix of the best music ever. The weather with Spice FM.
Looking at Nairobi, 21 degrees, we'll see highs of 27 and highs of 28 in a sunny Nakuru at 19, 22 and sunny in Nyeri and 22 and sunny in Eldoret, 30 and sunny in Mombasa, going to highs of 32 and we'll see highs of 31 in Malindi, 22 and 25 and sunny in Kisumu with highs of 31, while into Kakamega we'll see highs of 30 and lows of 15. 24 and sunny out in Kampala with highs of 29, while Dar es Salaam is sunny for most of Tuesday, 29 degrees. Johannesburg at 16 is sunny with highs of 24, and Mogadishu at 30, sunny through to highs of 31. Addis Ababa at 18 will be sunny through highs of 23. Lagos cloudy at 25 with highs of 31, and at 26 Kinshasa will be sunny through the day with highs of 32. We're looking to a sunny Beijing at 20, Paris is cloudy at 10, and London at 13 is cloudy. New York clear at 10, coming into Tuesday with highs of 18.
Mature, intelligent talk every morning. Spice up yourself. Mornings done right. 94.4 Spice FM, Nairobi.
2 minutes to 10. Our conversation with Obi continues.
So, I mean, Dr. Obi, when we we can see. I don't think anybody. You don't need to look very hard to know that there's a problem. Yeah, I mean, we can take the next 10 hours and say this is wrong, this is wrong, this is wrong, this is wrong. But then what do we do?
Yeah.
What should we do?
We can do a lot. Because one of the things we do know is that countries once lagged behind. It wasn't just us. A number of countries today that are doing better in Asia once lagged behind. They similarly faced those kinds of conditions and situations. But I think that the resolve, that this particular point that I'm making is one that I managed to study as part of a research I was doing on the nexus between political quality of political of politics and the economic performance of countries. And in that, I was looking at what happened to Germany immediately following the end of the Second World War, when it was a heap of ruin. How did it work its way back into a country that could then become the largest economy in Europe, the leading economy in Europe, the third largest economy in the world? And it was very clear that first, the resolve of the Germans to not stay down was important.
Collectively.
We underestimate the power of a resolve, of a resolute mind. Now, we look around Africa. The citizens have to say to themselves, this is not enough. This is, we want more. This cannot be our destiny. It is not the destiny of our continent to be laggards. So the collective will of the people is number one. And then the second part of it is we have to, for each of the countries, diagnose what are the key barriers to the emergence of the kind of an environment that enables growth, that facilitates growth. And when we analyze this, one thing that was common was if you looked at the governance score of majority of our countries, it's in the lower. We're in the wrong neighborhood. Of good governance. And being in the wrong neighborhood of good governance immediately says to us, where is this bad governance coming from? And it will take you smack into political leadership. Because ultimately, the political leadership of a country determines the quality of technical performance of that country. And so in my research, I found clearly that there's a correlation between the quality of politics of our continent and the capacity of our continent to produce good economic outcomes.
Excuse me,
Can I
teacher.
give you a perspective?
Excuse me,
sorry.
teacher.
Yes,
Excuse
Eric.
me. So in this case of Germany, for example, as you studied, this resolute people of Germany who were determined to rise up from the ashes, so to speak, what did they do? How did they make the decision to select their leaders?
So part of what then happened was that at the very basic level of the communities, and with the involvement of local institutions, groups and including the churches, in their own case, churches. Mosque was not part of that equation at the time. What they did was they organized. They didn't agonize. They organized. And what they did was to organize, and the concept of community governance arose as a result of that. Labor was an important part of it. So those kinds of institutions that brought people together to want to solve problems that were facing them commonly. This is sadly not the case anymore with us. Our traditional African approach was often a community solving its problem. But what then happened was a divergence between that culture and this, what people consider an alien state that they do not connect to. So they are detached from this state that is in Nairobi, and they say, these people are doing their things. I'm just going to. So that complete the coupling of the communities wanting good for themselves, and the people who now had the power to make the laws, to make the policies, just really capped the capacity of Africans to stay in a resolute state at a level that could push the interest to take their destinies in their hands. So what you find is what I call learned helplessness, right? Learned helplessness. People simply look at the situation and say, it will never change. Let me mind my business. And that is a terrible thing. So we need to get that back. And I think that in many ways, we're seeing in a generation of Africans who are saying, we want more. Why are they saying that? Or they're saying that because they are looking at the rest of the world and saying, hey, this is not rocket science. We can actually, participate. We can produce. We can add something to the global economy. And so that generation is not, they are not carrying the baggage of colonialism. They are not carrying the baggage. If you tell some of our young ones that there was a time when white people were all over here and the Africans were just they say, really? How could that have happened? They're like, they find it like, no.
Where were you people?
So they're not in any way impaired by colonialism. They didn't say dictatorship. These are children born into freedom, right? And they didn't. They don't like the idea that they are associated with corruption. That is what they are known for. So these kinds of things that held back the other generations, not holding them back. So their rules of engagement are entirely different. It's an incredible development for our continent that our children are coming to that place where they are owning their space. So that resoluteness is actually a good factor. They want more. They believe they deserve more. They are ready to put in the work to produce more. We must, hold on to it. And then we must begin the process of cleaning up our politics. We have to clean up our politics. Currently, because of what we said previously, people just looked at the governance spectrum and they said, no, I don't find myself in this. And so they voted with their feet out of public sector, out of public leadership, and they voted into either private sector or completely went abroad. So you're then left with in a situation where the most important leadership of any people is now left to vagaries of all kinds of. We pay more attention to who we hire to run the grocery shop than who we elect to be a parliamentarian, to be a president. But that's an anomaly. That's an anomaly, and we must fix that. Because if we fixed that, then what we would have is a situation where we will attract our best into public leadership at the local level, at every level of leadership. The momentum that creates is remarkable.
Consider a country like Germany was once very fragmented before someone called Bismarck came along. Italy the same. But the thing that you mentioned, the glue that one sees in these developed countries is their sense of nationhood. They are Germans. You may come from this state, you may come from this state. Even small countries like Switzerland, who have their cantons, they are Swiss. Yet they are Germans, they are Italians, they are French, but they are Swiss. Now, with us, you are right when you say spot on. The social fabric that we adhered to somehow never matured into nationhood. And that is why even when we think about our public service, the social systems that didn't mature into nationhood are manifest. I have a position in government so that I can benefit people who come from my background. When I think in terms of development, I first think of my background before I think of the nation. How do we get to a point where we understand everything about nationhood so that we are actually citizens of our country? Yes, our backgrounds notwithstanding. Because so long as that isn't there, whenever we talk of public service of our politics, it will reflect this. We'll pay lip service to country, but our actions are fragmented into those small cocoons that represent where our origins are from.
You make a very strong point. We're back again to the matter of leadership. Leadership must emerge from amongst us. Africa is not a place despoiled to the point where we can't, emerge good leaders. Okay, so it then behoves us to think of it in a more deliberate way. And I've spent the last 4 or so years thinking of it that way, by looking at how do you correct for this anomaly? And a critical initiative that I have embarked on with other colleagues of mine is the establishment of schools of politics, policy and governance across the continent. We're starting gradually, but it is important that we should, disrupt the current pattern of emergence of leadership at every level of our existence. Now, part of why that kind of a leadership preparation system is necessary is because of what you've just said. The fact that you have to, get people to understanding there are critical pathways to mobilizing all the assets of a society. The diversity doesn't have to be a disadvantage. As a matter of fact, research shows that diverse societies are more advantaged in terms of rate of innovation than homogeneous societies. So it's only when we mismanage, squander our diversity that it turns into fractious, factionalized spaces where collaboration and cooperation are not possible. So what we need is to spend so much more time building leaders who come out with very strong ethical and moral rectitude. So it's about their character. We need to take back to the place where the leader steps out, and we know this leader is not about himself. This leader is not about his little cocoon of people, but a leader for all right? So ethical character, they are not self-serving. And then we have to give them the competence that they need in statecraft. So they need to know the multidisciplinary issues that are important for fixing an economy, for taking an economy from poverty to prosperity. So whether it's knowledge of macro issues, knowledge of structural issues, knowledge of how you build the right human capital stock, and issues around managing sustainability and building resilient societies, knowledge of how you build state institutions, knowledge of how you determine the kind of investments and the way to manage your public financial systems. They need to have that. We can't have a situation where frequently in our countries people just stumble into political office.
They just
and you're talking monetary policy. The fellow has no clue what you're saying. And you're saying, the monetary policy and the fiscal policy have to be in, and they are looking at you. And they can't wait for you to just shut up. So they tell you what to do. And what to do on the basis of what they think that is not anchored on, very sound research and evidence of what works, So take, for example, the matter of education. The kind of challenge that we have now that people are not even really paying attention to is that current data says that 9 out of every 10 children in Africa are not achieving minimum proficiency level in literacy, numeracy, and socio-emotional skills.
What?
That's it. That's the
9
disaster.
out of 10?
9 out of 10.
That's a failure.
9 out of every 10. By the time they are early grade, foundational level, they are not achieving this. And who do you think are these people? They are mostly the children of the poor.
Yep.
So you correlate the children of the poor not even having an opportunity to have the basic skills. What then do you build on? Where do you start from? So it means that, we would take a longer journey to getting to where we should get to until we can get the good sense to say, no, leadership of a certain quality is desirable for us to make progress.
If not imperative.
Well, that's the word. I think you have a better word. It's imperative. It's a non-negotiable for us to make progress. And that means that the citizens' resoluteness will pull them in a direction where they're saying, hey, we need to have a deliberate system of leadership recruitment. We need to, and by the way, when you talk leadership, people sometimes think, oh, one person. No, that's nonsense. You need to build such massive stock of leaders at the base in the counties. The counties should have more than 120 or even 1,000 people who could lead at any point in time. The provinces, the nation, that is the national level, you have to just invest. Africa's greatest investment now that would change our story for the rest of this 21st century, which will stand a chance to claim. Africa can claim the 21st century. There is, people sometimes look at it and think it's not doable. It is doable. 40 years ago, no one saw China coming. 30 years ago, no one saw India coming.
Imagine.
I am telling you, nobody saw them coming, but they came. And the truth is that the possibilities for our children now, who are global players, when we give them the best opportunities, show us the pathway.
How do we show and help these children to actually push back against the status quo? Because the status quo is really, really fighting, and you've witnessed it, right? As you see these younger generations coming up and saying, no, this is not it. This is not enough. We demand more. The status quo just comes back and pushes back and suppresses. And status quo is this entire ecosystem that has the local players and other international players who are benefiting from the status quo. How do you overcome this?
Yes. So first, with humility. Our generation needs to act with humility. If we were wonderful, the children would not be complaining.
Yeah.
So we have to come to the table with a lot of humility, saying we could have done better, but we did not. Forgive us for that. However, there are some intergenerational wisdom that we can both benefit from. We need to say to them that these are the ways that we believe we made our mistakes. Please don't repeat them. You may be angry at us, but don't repeat our mistakes. Okay? And a core aspect in the research that we did shows that even if we trained you for competence and we trained you for capacity and you lack character, you're still going to be a low cost on the society. And it has nothing to do with age. It all has to do with the kind of corrosive mindset that subverts the common good. So we would tell them where these mistakes exist and why they must not repeat them. Then we would give them the wisdom of saying, we are available for when you need us. All right? Because the truth is, they have a lot to teach us.
Yeah.
This younger generation, we shouldn't just even go and be pretending we need to. One of the things, for example, that is important, because I've watched a number of times when the younger generation have tried to sort of say, we want more, we want different. And then they get to the point where it appears like they are not making progress, and they immediately get flustered. And they feel tired, and they feel worn out, and they say, we're not getting it. Well, we need to tell them that life is for the long haul, and they have to stay the course. They must stay the course. They must not be easily defeated, because the resilience of those who wouldn't want a better Africa should be countered by a much more resilient set of people who want a better Africa. If those who don't want good tire you out, then what's the point, right? And then we need to be able to say to them that a certain level of structure and organization is still important. I love the idea of, we all are collectively leading. But even when you're all collectively leading, you have to have a semblance of a way, a loose network of where your machinery of leadership is. Because leadership is not just about the passion. It's about the strategic trust. It's about, the choices that have to be made. It's about considerations of the consequences of each action. So a sense where they are much more deliberate and in organizing how they are engaging with the issues. And they must be very empirically and factually based in their approaches. And so I love them for when they generate data. I love the data part of them, and they, tooling themselves with the data and ensuring that their advocacy is based on that constructive engagement. You may not like me, but you can't argue with my points. You can't argue with my facts. We need to get them to do that, and we need to get them to honor themselves. Right? They need to honor themselves. The idea that I am the greatest shouldn't be, because that's part of the problem. One key problem that we've had is this matter of I am the greatest. Therefore, every other person is relegated. No, that's not necessary. It really isn't. But I really believe in this generation.
Very well said. We all do. CT actually really believes in them. Yeah. Obi, thank you very much
Thank
for joining
you.
us. It has been a very, very good conversation.
We're looking forward to, the SPPG, that is the School of Politics, Policy and Governance in Nigeria. We've graduated our 4th cohort.
Oh, nice.
The SPPG Senegal started last year and will be graduating its 1st cohort in January. And now your fellow Kit and Kin in Kenya are designing the SPPG Kenya. To support the process of this deliberate training and preparation of leaders. You need massive stock.
So we will have an SPPG in Kenya?
Oh, yes.
Oh, very good.
Yes.
Very good.
Fantastic.
Dr. Obiageli Obi Ezekwesili. Hey, say that name.
Thank you very much.
Say the name.
Obiageli Obi Ezekwesili.
Okay.
Yes.
She's the president of Human Capital Africa, Senior Economic Advisor, Africa Economic Development Policy Initiative. She's been our guest. Thank you for tuning in. Have a lovely day. It's 10:01. We'll see you tomorrow.
Good morning, this is the News Wire. I'm La Ubaga. Operations across all public universities have been halted after the University Academic Staff Union, OASU, began their strike at midnight